tonight. And it looks like Scotland will be the team to kick us off. They'll go from left to right. Pat,
I'm desperate to tell you something, because just the way Scotland are lining it up there, they look to me as if they're going to try and put the ball into the bottom corner. Doak, McTominay, etc. are going to hammer in there, almost like a rugby start. And a lot of teams have been kicking it out and closing down. Now, they might do that as well, but I think they wanted to win this. I think they wanted to start and think, right, go and try and put the opposition under pressure a little bit. And by the way they've lined up here, I expect that to be the case.
Well, let's see exactly what they do. It is Kenny McLean, left-footed midfielder, who is over it, and I think that's one of the notions, that he'll be able to clip those little balls in behind for Ben Gannon-Doak potentially. Lewis Ferguson also, well, he's actually just strolling into the Brazilian half as Scotland do get us underway, and in fact it's Ferguson all the way back to his goalkeeper, who is Angus Gunn this evening, and then the Scots all make their way into Brazilian territory as Gunn pumps it long up towards Gannon-Doak. It's won there by Douglas Santos, and Brazil will be able to come forward down the left-hand side as Vinnie Jr. challenged there by Patterson, the referee, has to think about which way he's going to decide, and he says it's a Scotland throw-in as the Scots get underway, but the referee hasn't spotted that there's a Brazilian player down. He has now, though, and there will be a slight stoppage here as he checks upon him, and he's unhappy that he felt he was caught in the jaw there.
Yeah, that's Paquetá. Yeah, Paquetá. He's not a stranger to a complaint, if I'm honest with you. But it's one of those ones. There are such phrases such as "let them know they're in a game," and I think we've actually did that right at the start. But you know, that's nothing. That's just throwing down a little bit of a marker for Scotland to say we're here for a battle. Well,
the thing is, Pat, you saw the referee in the Morocco game let a lot of things go. If Scotland can do the same against Morocco, then they will be allowed to make sure that the Brazilians know they're not just here to play second best, as all the legends in attendance saw R9 Ronaldo and Ronaldinho's both hugging Carlo Ancelotti later on. As a big coming together there, and Scotland have been allowed the advantage with two players down. Now the referee is actually going to whistle because Ferguson has stayed down after that collision. I think Scotland will get the free kick. The referee, who is Cesar Ramos from Mexico.
Do you know, he knows what he's doing there. I'm pretty disappointed that the referee doesn't spot that there. That's Ryan's come in really quite late. Now he's a young player, and there's a bit of naivety there as well. But if you're stationary and the ball's and a player's running at you, you can't protect yourself at that point in time. So there's a sore one, but Scotland get the ball back. There's somebody in the crowd there, I don't recognise him.
Well, whoever it is, I think it's someone by the name of David Beckham, was tucking into a goldfish bowl of red wine as Scotland get the game underway once more. But Brazil have picked up and they play it forward for Ryan. Closely tracked there by the Scots defence. Brazil pick up once more in the midfield, and now it's Paquetá on the halfway line. Feeds out to the left-hand side to the left-back Douglas Santos, and then Vinnie Jr. back in field. The back heel from Paquetá is overly elaborate and doesn't come off, and Scotland have it back through McTominay in the right-back position. It's Hendry now playing on the right side of the defence. A little Cruyff turn away from Vinnie Jr. there, that'll do, and they got a big cheer from the Tartan Army there. They beat the Brazilians at their own game almost.
Are we allowed to do that? Do little flicks and
particularly inside their own penalty area.
Exactly. Actually, what a comfortable confidence start by Celtic. Scotland. I don't think Celtic would have started quite as bravely, but maybe they would have. Look, the way they played just now, we're getting always from the Scotland fans just now. Maybe a bit premature for going for that one, but it has been a positive start by Scotland, holding the ball. Everybody wants a touch, and everybody looks a lot more comfortable than they did against Morocco.
There's McLean playing in that sort of quarterback role. We know the array of passes that he can produce, and that's you tend to think that's why he's in this evening. He'll go and look for the ball. He's comfortable taking it. Here's Patterson, who gets the nod again at right back. Just a short ball infield for McTominay. He's playing a little bit deeper than perhaps we thought, but now he's making the run forward. Patterson choosing to just go inside for Ferguson, who's probably been Scotland's top performer in the opening two games. He shuffles it out to the left-hand side for his captain Andy Robertson, who's just 3 away from 100 caps now, and very much closing in on Kenny Dalglish, who got 102 in that glittering career of his. McKenna back in for his first appearance of the World Cup, turns it back to Angus Gunn just outside his area, and then he sends it, a wonderful ball actually, out to Robertson, but he's misplaced his pass, tried to lay it back, and that allows Brazil to come forward. It's a half-decent ball in, but actually too close to Angus Gunn for Brazil to really threaten there from Bruno Guimarães, and it remains in the early stages here, 4.5 minutes in, Scotland 0, Brazil 0.
It is very early stages, and of course Scotland suffered very early on against Morocco, and it did set them back quite a bit. I'm really quite surprised at how sluggish the Brazilians look at the start. I mean, hey, sometimes they play like that, slow, and then very, very quick. At the moment, I think Stevie Clark will be delighted with the way his players have started and the confidence they've got from that.
Here's Marquinhos, the highly decorated Brazilian captain, fresh from a second consecutive Champions League victory. And he and Gabriel at the heart of that defence. I mean, that's pretty much as good as it comes, isn't it, in terms of central defenders?
Pretty much. Just looking at the way Brazil play, when they get the ball, they're on the ball, they play the ball up slowly. They are a front four. Absolutely push it on. Douglas Santos is trying to play as a right winger, and Vinny Jr. moves in one, and that creates a problem in the right back area for Scotland. But so far they've not made any capital out of it.
Yeah, but Santos certainly playing well up on that left-hand side as Gabriel of Arsenal does pick up possession just inside his own half. 5.5 in, no goals as yet. Remember, Haiti and Morocco both kicking off at the same time. Keep you up to date if there's any major developments in that one. Really, that one only becomes relevant if Scotland are looking like winning or indeed drawing, but they can't get above Morocco with a draw because of the head-to-head, as Vinny Jr. picks up and hammers it infield to Casemiro. He fancies his chances, well blocked there by McLean, who came out to meet him. And now it's picked up by McTominay, right-hand side. Gareth Doak gets more or less his first touch of the game. He goes back away to Patterson and onto the edge of his own penalty area to Hendry. And McKenna into the feet of Ferguson. Do you like the balance that the Scotland central defence has with the introduction of the left-footed McKenna?
Dare I say, so far. So far. But in the end, I mean, Hanley had been doing a great job. It's a lot to ask for him, you know, to play those 3 games.
McKenna closed down, it's a big chance. Oh, Vinny Jr.'s got an open goal. It's a disastrous start for Scott McKenna and Scotland as he presents the ball straight to Vinny Jr., who rounds Angus Gunn. And 7 minutes in, Brazil, like Morocco did before them, have the ideal start against the Scots, who have shot themselves in the foot. It is Scotland 0, Brazil 1.
I mean, it's such a shame to see that happening just now. The big call, you just asked me the question. How do you feel about the 2 centre-backs and the balance it gives you? And I said, up until now, dare I say. The reason being is, you need to play yourself into these games, you don't want to make mistakes, you don't want to be too lax. It was awful. I think that's the 3rd or 4th time this tournament already that players playing it around the back have given the ball away senselessly. And you don't do that against any players, but to do that against Brazil is awful. And after all that good work, all of the good work, completely given away with that moment.
Yeah, it's Ryan who does the closing down, and it breaks so kindly to Vinny Jr., who's more or less on the penalty spot, and he comfortably goes around Angus Gunn to slot in, sparking delirium around 3/4 of this Miami stadium. The Brazilian fans all in yellow all around us, with a perfect start. Carlo Ancelotti, calm as ever on the touchline. He's seen it all in his managerial career. Well, one thing he hasn't seen actually is his team win a World Cup, because this is his first international job. He has a long way to go before they can secure that, but certainly they are hoping to top this group, as they tend to do. They've won their group in the last 11 competitions, advanced in the last 14 since failing to do so back in a certain competition in 1966. But Scotland, having started so comfortably, but almost Scott McKenna was overly confident there as he played with the ball only about 8 yards from his own goal, and he must know that a player of the spark and awareness of Ryan is going to close him down.
Yeah, what happened when Scotland lost an early goal to Morocco? The confidence just disappeared for 25, 30 minutes or so. Actually, all the way until the hydration break, the confidence completely went. There was no belief in the group. And I'm really keen to see if this is going to be the case this time. Possession stats, the amateurs point out there. 67% for Scotland, in good areas as well, a lot of the time. But that doesn't matter, the one goal down, that's all that matters. And it's a real hard one to take. But let's see if Scotland can keep on playing the way they were playing before. It's a ridiculous way to give away a goal, but try and play that away again, because that's the only chance Scotland have got.
It's a throw in to Brazil deep in their own territory. We've played just under 10 minutes, and the bad news for the Scots is that they once again trailed by an early goal. And once again the Scots, in fact probably even more so than against Morocco, they've played a huge part in gifting it to Brazil. But here's him again, playing out to his left hand side for Robertson, midway inside the Brazil half. Ferguson in support, here he is, Lewis Ferguson. He's going to have to turn back the way to McKenna, who will really have to just get that out of his mind, that mistake that led to Brazil's opener, and recover his composure as McLean comes and picks up possession. And now it's Jack Hendry advancing, clipping it in towards the penalty, towards the back post. McTominay had made a good run, but it was just taken off his toes there before he could volley towards goal. And now it's picked up by Brazil once more, and it's Cunha who's come deep, and he is able to bring the ball over the halfway line. Scotland trying to get bodies back. It's fed forwards. The opportunity from the edge of the box is well blocked again by the Scotland back line, and Robertson will pick up possession, clipping it forward down the left-hand side. Up it goes towards Shankland, who's going to have a thankless task unless the midfield can get a bit closer to him. And Brazil quite comfortably pick up possession once again. It's Paquetá playing a little 1-2 with Vinny Jr., who goes down off the ball after he was clipped by Patterson. I think the referee saw that, but allows play to continue with Brazil still in possession. Right hand side into Cunha from the edge of the box, tries his luck over the top. Let's get an update on Haiti Morocco from Andrew Petrie.
Well, we've had a goal, and it's maybe not the way we'd expect. Haiti have gone 1-0 up against Morocco. Brilliant ball down the right hand side. The right back Jean-Kevin Duverne getting forward. He squared it into Lenny Joseph, and Haiti have their goal, their first in 52 years at the World Cup.
Incredible scoreline for Haiti, who are already eliminated because they can't go above Scotland even with a victory and a Scotland defeat because of the head-to-head, which is the first eliminator. But it does mean that if Scotland can get a positive result, then they could go above Morocco. But a long way to go in both games, of course, as Patterson feeds it forward and Gannon Doak's on the chase. Gabriel comes across. Gannon Doak got there just ahead of him, but Gabriel stuck out that long left leg and got a crucial touch to knock it out to the left-hand side. But Ben Gannon Doak so close to being in there.
Well, so close to being taken out for a penalty kick as well. I mean, it's a brilliant tackle, but it's millimetres he's got there in time. And that's the first time that Ben Gannon Doak's had a run off his defender, Douglas Santos. Douglas Santos never get near him. So, as often as possible, Scotland need to get that ball wide so he can run onto it.
It's Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle, another well-known figure in that Brazilian lineup to football fans in the UK. Joining us once more on BBC 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland for live coverage of Scotland at the World Cup, trailing by a goal to nil against Brazil. And it's Brazil coming forward, a lovely ball off the outside of the right boot, but Danilo coming forward from right back just couldn't take it in his stride, and it's out for a Scotland goal kick 13 minutes in. It's Brazil who leads by a goal to nil. We're just going to get another view here, Pat, of that challenging Gabriel, as he has done all season, as he helped Arsenal to the Premier League title. Brilliant defending.
Yeah, I mean, it had to be perfect. When Gannon Doak, you thought if you flick that ball beyond his foot, you could be wiped out here, and you could be in and goal. It was very close, and certainly the best moment of the game for Scotland.
Brazil, 5 times World Cup winners, synonymous really with this competition, aren't they? But they haven't won it since 2002. It's the longest equal drought in their illustrious history. They've only gone beyond the quarterfinals once in the last 5, which is simply not good enough I guess, by their standards. Hence Carlo Ancelotti being brought in, the first non-Brazilian to manage them at a World Cup. And if anyone can do it, you feel he can probably bring them up to the level they're looking for. As Gabriel has it just outside the centre circle, plays it short for Paquetá, and then gets it back, centre back. Casemiro's in there, almost as a third centre back just for the moment, and then flights it out to the right hand side to Danilo of Flamengo. Flighted into the Scotland area now. Angus Gunn watches that all the way, and it goes harmlessly behind for the Scotland goal kick. And it's all got a little bit subdued from the Tartan Army after that early setback, Pat. But at least Scotland have, they haven't completely fallen apart as you fear they might.
You can feel they've got a little bit more settled, but I would also say with that drum beat in the background, the Brazilians got a wee bit of rhythm going there, didn't they? For about 3 or 4 minutes, you felt it. There was real comfort about the way they were playing, belief in themselves, and then nicking the ball one touch to each other, and almost Samba-like fashion. But they'll have periods like that. Scotland have to accept there's going to be little periods like that. Scotland have to remember what their original game plan is. And now you've got 10 minutes until the hydration break, and in the end, Scotland can probably get maybe to that break, and Stevie Clark can have another couple of words with them to make sure that they're back doing what they started the game doing. Then they can get another foothold in this game. At the moment, they're holding it at the back, but they're not really causing that many problems other than that one break by Gannon.
Here's Ferguson just lofting it forward. Header made by Casemiro and then helped back to his goalkeeper by Gabriel. There's a wonderful period in the build-up to the game, Pat, where, as you say, the samba drums were beating, but also there was the bagpipes going on as well, and there was a real mix of the two, and well, I have to say it worked really nicely.
It did, and I think they've worked on that quite a wee well, that one, but it was a really fantastic, good understanding, and the relationship with both sets of fans has been brilliant. And there was no doubt that the Brazil fans, they lifted their anthem there a bit because they felt they had to answer the Scots beforehand. Yeah, the mix of the two sets of fans once again has been terrific, as it has been in the build-up since we've been in Miami, down on South Beach. Both sets of supporters here in their droves, and mixing very friendly atmosphere, much as it was in Boston. But it's Brazil who lead here in the early stages, 16.5 minutes in, as Douglas Santos picks up possession on the left-hand side and gets it back once more from Paquetá. Brazil just know that with that one goal advantage, they don't have to rush things, and they're just knocking the ball about quite calmly at the moment. Scotland struggling to get near them just at the moment. The temptation is, they come out and chase it and close it, which is exactly what Brazil are trying to tempt Scotland into doing. So, slight catch-22 situation. Do you take a chance? Try and close down. They are brilliantly passing it around you and getting through you and finding the gap in the final third if you do play too high.
Here's Paquetá, picked up by Cunha. The Brazilian fans certainly like the notion that Haiti are beating Morocco, because that will mean they go top of the group. As the ball's played into the Scots area, deflection comes off the head of Kenny McLean, comes all the way through now to Douglas Santos, and now Vinny Jr. in that position he loves to be in, trying to get the better of Patterson, who does really well. Sticks the leg in and knocks it behind for a corner. It's a big evening for Nathan Patterson, but on that occasion he did really well against Vinicius Jr.
Well, it's intriguing though, because I have to say I was half expecting Scotland to go for a back three. I think we'll talk about that much later, because both the goals we've lost are basically because we're back to. But if you have a back three, a right centre back can go and help the right wing back stroke full back. And I thought he might have needed help. So far, actually, young Parsons done a decent job on Vinicius Jr. Having said that, it's only 18 minutes gone, and of course Vinicius Jr. has scored, but not Patterson's fault.
Bruno Guimaraes over the corner here from the left-hand side. Gabriel very close to Angus Gilman. What threat he can be as it comes into the 6-yard box. Glance out towards the edge of the penalty area. Brazil will pick back up. It's not a great ball back in. Scotland can try and clear it. Shankland back there, and now it'll be picked up by Gannon Doak on the halfway line, out to the left-hand side for McGinn. McGinn forward to Gannon Doak, who's just drifted across to that far side. He's surrounded, he's done really well to squeeze the ball into McTominay. Now what can Scotland do as it opens up a little bit? McTominay advances, then he has to check back. He's tracked there by Matheus Cunha, who's dispossessed him. McGinn has lost out as well, and now Brazil come forward. Only two in the attack really at the moment. Vinny Jr. leading it though into the penalty. He comes, stabs it towards goal. That didn't look too far away with the outside of the right boot. Very capable of finding the back of the net from there, Vinny Jr., but not on this occasion, as we see Roberto Carlos and Cafu, the legendary fullbacks, actually Rivaldo alongside Roberto Carlos there. But
you had the problem there. We had a real problem. It's a shame. And I think most players sitting watching this would have spotted a mile away. We won the ball in a brilliant area, started breaking. Gannon Doak came inside. He has to go outside. Okay, he's on the left and he's been caught out of position, but go wide left, create space that would allow Scott McTominay to then find you. He didn't. He came inside trying to get back to his right-hand side position. By doing that, it killed all the space. When you're attacking, wherever you are, attack from there. It's a shame. It's just maybe the youth of Ben Gannon Doak. He's learning international football. But that was actually a bigger chance for Scotland to break than you would think.
Vinicius Jr. now with a goal in each of the group games, joining an illustrious band of players. Jairzinho, Romario, Ronaldo and Rivaldo have all scored in the 3 group games, and now joined by Vinny Jr. And he certainly is their star man, as they just continue to knock the ball about. Scotland struggling to get any possession, having dominated it in the opening exchanges.
It is interesting though, because Scotland actually fall into a 4-4-2 when McTominay goes a little bit further up. The problem with that is you've got a little bit of an overload on the left-hand side here. We'll go back to that in a moment.
Well, it's over on the right-hand side now as Vinny Jr. picks out the pass into the box. It comes. Hendry clears out to that far side, the Brazilian right. Scotland just need to try and get a foothold back in the game, because it's been dictated by Brazil just at the moment. They lead by a goal to 0, scored by that man Vinny Jr. And here he is picking up in a pocket of space once again. Scotland try and make the challenge. Ferguson does so well, and it breaks back to Angus Gunn. And it remains 1-0 to the Brazilians.
Honestly, the right back position there, and you've seen Patterson shout, come on, don't do that. It's so obvious to me. A minute or two ago before, I said that's the problem. You cannot leave your full-back 2-1. 2 against 1. It's bad enough 1 against 1 with Vinny Jr.
Vinny Jr. has also beaten Jack Hendry. He slips it past Angus Gunn, and it's 2-0. And Scotland have absolutely gifted Brazil a 2-goal start inside the opening quarter here, as the little Brazilian magician goes across with a samba dance in front of the fans on the far side, who reciprocate that with delight. And Scotland, their own worst enemies in the opening 20 minutes or so. First of all, it was Scott McKenna, and then it was Jack Hendry just getting caught out, and Vinicius Jr. taking full advantage to grab his 4th goal of the World Cup in just 3 games. And Scotland really have an uphill battle now. It is Scotland 0, Brazil 2.
I mean, well done, good finishing. You've got to close down. In reality, it's schoolboy. It is schoolboy errors. Honestly, that at this level, that's quite useless. You cannot even consider giving people those sort of chances and being that slack on the ball. I mean, there's a good argument. I mean, I think we need to stop and have a look at it. It's a foul, but he's so sluggish on the ball. I do think they should be complaining about this, having a look at it. I think he's clipped. I don't think the referee looks as if he's going to give it. I would argue that was a foul anyway, but you cannot hold on to it for that long when you've got a man on you. They're waiting again. They're not going to start it. They're going to do the goal check. I personally wouldn't give that as a goal. I personally wouldn't. I would. He's going to the line now, the referee.
Well, Scotland might be about to get really lucky, because, as you say, it arguably is a foul.
It is a foul.
But they're still getting away with it. Jack Hendry's dilly-dallying on the ball.
Yeah, and to be honest, he's lucky. Yeah, he's got his foot. It's a foul. That won't count. Now, we've got away with one here. They've not announced it yet, but there's no way in the world any referee with his salt is going to allow that goal to stand. But how slowly... Oh, no, come on. He's kicked the player on the foot. That would be an inadequacy of an incredible route. Do you know what? I'm worried in case he's... Surely not.
Well, the referee is coming back on the field to play. What is his decision here? He's waving the players away. He's going to make the TV monitor sign. And now he's going to announce his decision.
Cancel the goal, his final decision.
Yeah, he's given the free kick, which is great news for Scotland, but it's got to be a wake-up call, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, we got away with it, absolutely got away with it here. He's made the right decision. It's a tiny little clip, and of course, Andy will say, well, wait a minute, I wouldn't have done that had it been filled. But he was too slow. That touch, he's an inch away from getting away with it, an inch. You cannot do that with that standard of player beside you. Right, Scotland got away with one now. And correctly got away with it. Let's not do that again. Please. We don't deserve it, because what has Brazil actually done to Scotland? Scotland have done it all to themselves. And happily, we're going to get a little bit of a break now, and hopefully Steve Clark breathe a sigh of relief and say, right, stupid mistake, stop them now.
Well, the Scotland fans celebrating that disallowed goal almost as if it were a goal being scored up the other end. They know they've got a break as we go into the water break here in Miami, and although there's been arguments about whether this has been a positive introduction to the game or not, I think we can definitely argue that it's necessary here in the heat and humidity of Miami. What it does allow us to do is to bring in Leanne Crichton, who's alongside us in the commentary gantry, former Scotland international. Leanne, that does feel like a big let-off. Scotland have been their own worst enemies in this opening period.
It certainly feels like a huge relief, Al, no doubt about it. My heart sank at the point it went 2-0 there, in all honesty, until I seen the replay, and it's soft, but I'm going to be honest, it's a foul, and we've seen so many of them over the last couple of years in terms of the use of VAR. Vinnie Jr has stopped Jack Henry playing the ball, which I know he's a bit lacklustre and he's a bit slow in terms of his action, but ultimately it's a foul and it's been viewed, so I'm glad that VAR have intervened, and we've certainly got off the hook in terms of that decision. The McKenna one, we just need to park it. It's a mistake, it's an individual error, and they'll need to learn quickly. But actually Scotland for me have started okay in the game. That second goal would have probably killed all the confidence that we had, but I feel our use of the ball's been decent enough. You can see there's more of a willingness to use it and take care of it and look after it, with Kenny McLean in there centrally as well. It's just that threat. Pat absolutely nailed it. The one moment that we had with Doak on the left-hand side, he needs to stretch the game a little bit more. He needs to open up, and even if that's a ball or a clipped ball over the top in between centre-back and full-back, go and hit the space. All this running into congested areas is not that helpful when you're playing against a top team. Scotland have done okay. They need to just calm the nerves now. I'm glad the water break and the hydration breaks came. Get a bit of tactical information on, reset, focus now, and hopefully we can kick on in terms of our use of the ball and how we started in that opening 10 minutes or so, because I thought it was good.
Oh, you can hear the samba drums and the pipes once again during this water break, and we're also joined in the commentary gantry by another former Scotland international, Neil McCann. And Neil, if you can just stop samba dancing for a moment or two and give us your thoughts on that first half of the first half.
I was just getting into my rhythm there as well, Al. Listen, I just agree with the guys. I thought we started really well. It was the kick-off actually set the tone, because so many of us went forward and we were actually keeping the ball. Where we lose the 2 goals, I know, listen, we've been encouraged to play from the back, which is brave, but we've got 4 midfielders in that area and an overload, and the second goal with Jack Henry getting caught is a foul. So it's a foul, right? But actually the pass that he plays is too close. It brings too much threat. We've got to make sure that we're getting in between the lines. We've not quite done that yet with the overload, because they're playing like a 4-1-4-1 at times out of possession. Sometimes Vinnie Jr. playing up there alone with Cunha as well. So it's getting an overload on the right side if we want it. We're just not choosing the right decisions. And again, we've not reacted well to losing a very early goal. But we've stemmed the flow. We've got away with one there. We just need to get brave again.
The thoughts there of Neil McCann as we get back on the way. We also heard there from Leanne Crichton, 2 former Scotland internationals. Another one alongside me in commentary duty, Pat Nevin, as Scotland, I think, have forced a first corner of the game.
They have a real physicality, and it's very interesting the difference these water breaks can make, these hydration breaks can make, because, you know, if you start the front foot again, Scotland had the ball, they made sure they got it into the corner and won this corner kick, and it is one of Scotland's strengths. You know that McTominay's very good. We've got 2 big centre halves that can attack, and I'll tell you that Blanchett was not bad in there either.
It's Lewis Ferguson, left-hand side, right-footed, curls it into the near post, glanced on. Brazil get it clear of the second ball, but Scotland will pick up once more as Gannon Doak gets it to McGinn. Right-hand side, curls it in. It's a good ball, delivery to the back post, and it's bouncing around the 6-yard box, and Brazil will just thump it clear. It just wouldn't fall to a Scotland jersey there inside the 6-yard box, but it was a promising moment. A couple of good balls in to that Brazilian area.
It's a good move actually as well. The way the corner kick was worked, they knew exactly what they're doing. A lot of players went to the front post. One goes to the back, or two go to the back, managed to get the head across, caused a lot of confusion in that Brazil defence. So they've been working obviously in the set pieces a bit. Didn't look too bad, that one, unlucky.
Scotland trailing by a goal to nil. It could have been worse. Brazil have had a second goal chopped off just before the water break as McLean plays it square to Ferguson in the midfield. Now out to the right hand side to Patterson. Back to Ferguson once more, about 15 yards inside the Brazilian half. Hendry and McKenna play the ball square, and then McKenna maybe just shorn slightly of confidence with a mistake that led to the first goal, turns it back the way to Angus Gunn. He arrows it out towards Robertson, but it's won in the air by Danilo, and out of play over on the far side, more or less on the halfway line as Scotland get the throw in. Half an hour in here at the Miami Stadium. The thunderstorm that was threatening all afternoon hasn't reappeared. It was heavy rain here 2 or 3 hours before kick-off, but it hasn't really re-emerged. But these localised thunderstorms, they can just come and go very quickly, but hopefully we don't get that interruption that they saw at the France-Iraq game yesterday. As the ball's turned back to Angus Gunn inside his 6-yard box. Vinny Jr. knows that he might get a bit of joy if he goes and presses, but not on this occasion, as Gunn gets it back to Hendry. Hendry just a little bit unsure as to how best to manoeuvre the ball forward. Now it comes out to the right hand side to Patterson. Hendry gets it back forward, slightly loose, but it does come to Gannon Doak. Now McTominay can try and wriggle away from a couple of challenges. He goes down. McLean keeps it moving though, and now it's McGinn. He's got Robertson outside of him. That's where the ball goes. Robertson plays the ball. He's claiming for a penalty. He'll definitely get at least a corner, and he's a wry smile and a little high five there with Danilo. I think it was a hopeful claim, shall we say, for a handball, but it is another Scotland corner.
If it would have hit his hand, it still wouldn't have been a penalty kick, because his hands were inside his body. He made sure he did that right. But again, good break there. John McGinn working very well on the left hand side with Robbo, and Robertson tries to put the ball in. To be honest, I think he was kind of half expecting or hoping for a corner kick. It's another one for Scotland, and again, this start, just like the start of the game, the start of the second quarter of the game, pretty good from Scotland.
Lewis Ferguson away across to that far side, the Scotland left to take once more. Right-footed, very crowded 6-yard box down there. Brazil got plenty numbers back, but plenty of navy blue jerseys forward into the near post. Comes off a Brazil head, first time and second time. Again, we'll go and retrieve it once more on the right-hand side. Can he get another decent ball back in? Trying to find half a yard. There's a run made there by Patterson. He squeezed it through for him. Right-hand side of the penalty area. Almost gets better of Paquetá, but not quite. And he'll pick up. The former West Ham man goes down very easily, then realises he's not going to get the free kick for that. He's under pressure, but he's done brilliantly against Patterson. He's kept it in, but then he's given it away. Chance for Ferguson to go from distance. Big deflection off Danilo, and out for another Scotland corner. The momentum building.
Yeah, good positivity again. 3 corners in a row, but have a look at Patterson there. He's getting to the byline on the right-hand side attacking. He's supposed to be scared stiff of Vinicius Jr. spending his whole time defending. He's saying, no, you're coming forward with me. And he's asked a few questions. I'm very, very impressed with Nathan Patterson at the start of this game.
Another attempt then, another opportunity for Ferguson from that left-hand side. Can Scotland capitalise on this good momentum that built up in the few minutes since the water break?
The holding and jostling in there.
McTominay particularly being held as the ball swung into the edge against Brazil to make first contact. The referee spotted an infringement, and it's a foul and a free kick in favour of the Brazilians. Not sure exactly what he saw in there, but he's
I'll tell you what he didn't see. He didn't see McTominay getting grabbed, and to be honest, I think Bruno Guimaraes was actually holding more. Not convinced by the referee there in that one. I think if he's going to give anything, which usually they don't give anything, he should have given it to Scotland there. That was unfortunate for Scotland.
Hendry, the man penalised, but Scotland have picked up on the goal kick here by Allison. Highly experienced and, well, as Andy Robertson described him, best goalkeeper in the world. There's one or two who might argue, but he's certainly up there as Gannon Doak now picks up former Liverpool man himself. Now Bournemouth jinking away into the near post. His cross comes, it's well defended but it's good enterprising play from Ganondorf, who's now working back to try and keep the ball in play. It's actually going to be a Brazil throw-in though, but definitely better from Scotland since that water break, as you've been saying, Pat.
Again, and Ben Ganondorf there, I know it's going to sound strange, the Brazilians are worried about him. They're going 2-on-1 against him. He's gone down the line and he's still got there. He's got to the byline. Maybe it wasn't the greatest cross, but he's got it in there to a fairly dangerous position. And that must lift the young man's spirits there, because what you notice when there's two players marking you, you think, hey, wait a minute, I've got inside your heads a wee bit. So a little bit more of that from Ben Ganondorf, a little bit more of the ball up in that final third time would be good.
1-0 Brazil lead, just over 10 to play in the first period, as they knock the ball about at the back, but a better last 10 minutes from Scotland for sure, as Marquinhos picks up possession just inside his own half, just plays it to the right to Danilo, and then picked up by Cunha, who's just dropped off the front, then plays it forward looking for Ryan. Ryan could be in here. Robertson backtracking, is going to be behind for a Brazil corner. It was good defending. Ferguson felt he was dragged to the ground there as he helped cover, and the referee actually has agreed with him.
I thought that was a corner kick as well. Referee's in a good position. Brazil players are furious about it. Scotland are ignoring them.
You can hear the Brazil fans round about us also unhappy as Ganondorf picks up, tries to get the better of Douglas Santos, gets the throw in.
It's driving us mad. Leon and I are sitting doing exactly the same thing here. Ben Ganondorf's got Hickey, get the ball flying towards him. Hickey looks great, saying, go, just go, I'll get rid of the ball, put it in space, run, that's what you're good at. And Ben's coming short for it. That's not what we want from you today, Ben. We want you to go long.
I'm sure Hickey is saying that from the bench, but Nathan Patterson in behind him is Kenny McLean tries a crack at goal. That's half block. Brazil trying to get it clear. Ferguson up against Bruno Guimaraes, losing out though to the Brazilian, and then sent wide by Cunha, but out of play. Danilo was on the advance there, but he's going to have to get back into defensive shape now as the throw-in's quickly taken by Robertson into McGinn. Now it's McTominay picking up left-hand side, looks for Shankland, doesn't quite make it. Marquinhos read it well, and Brazil will pick up and look to try and threaten Scotland again, because they've been on the back foot, actually, as bizarre as that might sound, for the last 10 minutes. As Paquetá now picks up, back in Brazil, playing his football with Flamengo once again, having left the English Premier League in the January window. Out comes to Douglas Santos, left-hand side, well advanced. Vinny Jr., who's had a quiet few minutes, which might be worrying in itself, because he can just spring into action. Already had the ball in the back of the net twice, only one of them counted fortunately for Scotland, as Marquinhos picks up, and the Scotland fans find their voice once again as they sing the John McGinn song. But it's Brazil in possession through Paquetá. Lovely little ball inside for Vinny Jr. He's got two to try and beat. Good challenge again from Nathan Patterson. To be honest, Pat, I thought he had a good game against Morocco when he came in for that one, with Hickey unable to start. And as you've been saying, I think Patterson, who actually looked a little bit nervy in a couple of the warm-up games, he's actually looked by no means out of place in these high-profile games against Morocco and Brazil.
Absolutely. Do you know what? He's fearless. He will go and attack the other way. They look better shame there. Scotland in a good position. Lost possession. Yeah,
McTominay the guilty party there, and Brazil can try and build, and it's Guimaraes with a good pass, and Brazil on the edge of the box, and the effort from the edge from Ryan goes well wide of target. Ryan knows that was a good position he got himself into, and Mofili should have done better with the effort at goal. It does remain after 37.5 minutes. Scotland 0, Brazil 1. There's a couple of times that Scott McTominay has given the ball away now in the areas, and when he's given it away, they've broken it very, very quickly. But the thing about Scott, every pass he's trying is a positive one, and there is risk involved with him, and usually he's very, very good at judging that risk. Just the last couple of times giving it away, so maybe a couple of easy balls for the next few minutes. Is there anything more that Lawrence Shankland can do to get involved in the game, because he is obviously playing that lone striker role? What more can either Scotland do to get him into it, or can he do to get on the ball? To be fair, I watched the same man with Shea Adams, Dykes and him. We play a system that's just incredibly hard for a centre forward. That's it, full stop. You've got very, very little chance to get any space at all, so what you need to do is drag players and be selfless. That's why when a lot of people don't like Shea Adams, I think he's brilliant, because he works so hard for the rest of the team, creates space for others. He's done just that. Yeah, Shankland just came off the front and found a decent pass back the way as Scotland look to build. It's McLean whipping it into the back post. He's just got too much on that. Ben Ganondorf doesn't go for it, and in the end it does bounce behind for a Brazil goal kick. But that's the kind of position actually you want Kenny McLean in, because 9 times out of 10 he'll pick out a better ball than that.
Yeah, just a little bit too much loft on it, too much consideration on it. But there were 2 players at that back post. Of course, McTominay, we know how brilliant he is at arriving in the box. He arrived there, Shankland was there, but just no one. It wasn't the best of balls, it was just a little bit too much on it. But once again, Scotland getting a half-decent position. I don't think Brazil are enjoying this quarter so far.
No, not overly. They would have been had they been 2 up, but with that second goal from Vinny Jr. being chalked off for a foul on Jack Hendry, it has become a little less comfortable for them. Just saw a little shot on our screens of a young fan with the old classic Ronaldo R9 haircut, despite what were a good 20 odd years on from when he sported that. It still seems popular, as terrible as it actually is, but there you are. Shows you the
styles come and go, Al. Styles come and go.
Yeah. Here's Paquetá lifting it into the Scotland penalty area. Robertson with a calm header back to his goalkeeper.
Absolutely lovely that, you know, under serious pressure there. But he's calm, gives it back to the goalkeeper. And that moment could have been a panic, giving it out for a corner kick, and could have been in trouble. But that's what you get with the experience of John Andy Robertson.
Here's Nathan Patterson in possession. No Brazil player's going to close him down. Just plays it short to Ferguson. Now Cunha will come. He plays a little 1-2 there with Ferguson. Again unflustered. Plays it to McLean. It will be a Scotland ball. The referee trying to decide whether it's a throw-in or a free kick. It's just a throw-in. Again, the contact not being penalised. As Patterson will take this throw-in into McTominay. Could have brought that under control there, tries to play it on, it's picked up by Paquetá. McTominay, I think,
giving it away too much, isn't he?
He set himself such high standards that I think when he's slightly off it, that we do notice it more than maybe others.
Well, don't worry, if he gets one good touch, final third in the area, we'll let him away with it.
This is Scotland against Brazil live with you on BBC 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland, live from the Miami Stadium, which is a sea of colour, the canary yellow and the navy and pink of the Scotland home and away shirts, and such a terrific atmosphere. But it's Cunha looking to improve the atmosphere for Brazil, and he curls it just wide from 20 yards, just trying to find the far bottom corner. Gun dive to his left, wasn't getting there, but fortunately for him it was a yard or two, in fact maybe a little bit more than that in the end, wide from the Man U forward, and it remains Scotland 0, Brazil 1.
A real conversation there, you know, asking should Henry come out a little bit quicker there to close him down. Didn't want to take a chance there, but I suppose if you're hitting it from 23, 24 yards, it's probably something you'd expect your goalkeeper to get a hold of.
Brazil have it in the middle of the park, and it's fed forward by Paquetá. Hendry, though, there before Vinny Jr. Patterson again just links the ball away towards Ferguson, forward looking for Gannon Doak, but Douglas Santos gets the better of him on this occasion as Brazil play it around at the back, quite composed style, as is their wont. Gabriel wants a bit more movement ahead of him, and in the end he has to go back in field to Marquinhos. Out to the right hand side now, out to Danilo. So still with the ball at the back. It's been another goal in the other game in the group, and it's an equaliser for Morocco. We'll hear more detail about that just in a moment. Not while the ball is still in play though, because you never know when Brazil or indeed Scotland could strike, as Vinny Jr.'s taken down off the ball there, but the play allowed to continue with Brazil still in possession. What that does mean is Morocco are in second place, Brazil in first place. So goals going in that game as Douglas Santos picks up once more. In fact, it sounds like Haiti have gone back in front. We'll get an update from our reporter Andrew Petrie, but I'm loath to break away from coverage of this one just now, because Brazil on the ball, and now they come forward. It's a little flick by Guimarães, but directed back to Angus Gunn by Kenny McLean, who was on the cover. It's out for a throw, so let's quickly cross to Andrew Petrie for an update.
Well, Al, I was about to tell you about Achraf Hakimi's goal for Morocco. An equaliser, just scrambled it in when the goalkeeper fluffed across. But then Wilson Isidore, the Sunderland striker, has just fired in an absolute rocket from about 25 yards out into the top corner to put Haiti back in front.
It's an incredible scoreline. Thanks, Andrew, for the update. I mean, who would have believed that could happen, Pat?
Well, Haiti didn't look too bad against Scotland, let's be fair about it. And that's just what World Cups can do. You know, Haiti are playing without fear now. Just go out and enjoy themselves. And sometimes that's when players can play at their very, very best.
Scotland with everyone behind the ball right now as Brazil enjoy some possession inside the Scotland half. The Brazil fans, I don't think have got wind of the second Haiti goal as yet. It's not been announced in the stadium. Here's Vinny Jr. out to the right-hand side. Opportunity here perhaps. Slip for Vinny Jr. Cuts it back. It's off the line. Scotland survived by the skin of their teeth again. It was Cunha who was in there trying to provide the finishing touch, but Scotland had a couple of players on the line, and by hook or by crook they kept it out. It will be a Brazil corner, but it does remain Scotland 0, Brazil 1.
Yeah, it's brilliant play. Got to the byline, and I mean the byline. You were right on it there when the ball was played back there, and that's panic station for everyone. The ball was actually cleared off line, just trying to see who was. Actually, it looked like both players kicked it at the same time. Patterson was definitely there as well. Hits off the goalkeeper, could have gone anywhere. Went back for a corner kick to Brazil.
Yeah, which is taken back the way and then clipped into the penalty area. Out comes Gunn to the edge of his 6-yard box, claims that one under no real pressure. 45 minutes in now as the fourth official makes his way to the edge of the technical area. 6 minutes added on here at the end of the first half, which Scotland trailed by a goal to nil. It could have been worse. They've survived one that was chopped off for a foul by Vinny Jr. before he slotted the ball into the net, and then one just a moment ago as there is the announcement of the second Haiti goal, and you can hear the Brazil fans round about us delighted by that, but they're about to be silenced again because Morocco have just equalised for a second time. We'll get news of that again once the ball goes dead here, but 2-2 it stands in that game. 1-0 to Brazil, courtesy of Vinicius Junior's third goal of the tournament as McGinn picks up. He's come across to the right hand side for the moment at least, as Ferguson plays it back into McKenna midway inside his own half. And now it's Kenny McLean who's drifted back into a left back position, forward to Andy Robertson, and back in field it goes to Ferguson. This is better from Scotland once again. It's McGinn in the central area, can't get the better though of Casemiro. Good solid challenge from the midfielder. In comes to the feet of Shankland, out to the left hand side. It's Gannon Doak who's out there at the moment. Comes in on the right foot, tries to go for a goal. He misses his kick. He might get another go at it. Challenge comes in, he goes down. Nothing given by the referee as Brazil pick up possession. Looked a little bit clumsy there from the Brazilian defenders, but referee unmoved. Here's Shankland at the edge of the box. Can he get the break of the ball? Almost comes to him again. And Brazil managed to survive that little foray forward by the Scots.
A little half chance again there for Scotland. Gannon Doak goes in, and he almost misses the ball. He tries to hit it, takes a little bobble off one of the players in and completely mishits it. Almost broke him again, but Scotland again getting in good positions. But at the moment in the final third, we're just lacking that little bit of quality.
Yeah, I wonder if Gannon Doak almost got a little bit too excited as the ball broke to him in a good position. Free kick goes Brazil's way. Let's quickly hear from Andrew Petrie about that second Morocco equaliser.
Yeah, it was brilliant from Ashraf Hakimi down the right hand side, cut it back to Ismail Sayabari, and he becomes the first African player to score in all three group stage games, and he makes the score 2-2 between Morocco and Haiti.
Great stuff, thanks Andrew. Still 1-0 Brazil in this one in Miami as Brazil look to see out this first half in front. They top the group as things stand. Morocco second on 5. Scotland will have an anxious wait if they finish on 3 points to see if that'll be enough to take them through in third place. The more narrow the defeat, the better if it's got to be a defeat. But here come Brazil looking for a second goal before half-time. Good defending by Robertson, almost gives it away though inside his own penalty area. Now it breaks for Guimarães, teases it in, there is a second goal for Vinny Jr. Scotland again giving the ball away in a dangerous position, and then it was lifted to the back post, and Vinny Jr. with a trademark Samba celebration once more, and Brazil do have the 2-goal advantage, which was taken away from them earlier on, but surely this one will stand, and 3/4 of the stadium once again celebrates as Scotland fall 2 goals behind. A pensive Steve Clark on our screens. But it's a jubilant Brazilian crowd here, a sea of canary yellow dancing in the stands. And again, Scotland pay the penalty for giving the ball away cheaply in a poor area. Pat Nevin, it's 2-0.
Yeah, and it's Andy Robertson playing in a very a very poor area to put it in. The ball's played to the back post there. Angus Gunn comes for it, and it's one of those ones. You know, if you come for that, you've got to get it. You absolutely got to get it if you come for it. He doesn't. Goes beyond him, and there's absolutely nothing you can do. And even though Patterson's played Vinnie Jr. quite well, he's lost 2 goals, and that just shows you about the genius of the best players. They turn up at the right places at the right time, and Scotland's problems have all been of their own making. All of it.
Yeah, hugely disappointing. There's never a great time to lose a goal, but deep into stoppage time, just before the half-time whistle, has got to be among the worst of them. And Scotland trailed by 2-0 now. A Vinnie Jr. double. One early in the first period, one very late, as McGinn breaks away from one challenge and then tries to do so from another. Casemiro takes him down. It will be a Scotland free kick. Can they pull themselves back to within a goal of Brazil before the interval? And Vinnie Jr. has just been on irresistible form, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, but I don't know if he played brilliantly. I don't know what he's done great, other than put the ball in the net a couple of times. Well, 3 times actually, one of them chopped off. But in reality, he's been playing well by Scotland. He's not getting many chances. And apart from those 2 goals and the silly mix-up before, have Scotland really been caused too many problems? They haven't been. That's why I say the vast majority of Scotland's problems caused by themselves.
Final minute of stoppage time as it comes into the Brazilian box, comes to the edge of the box, a little bit of a miss hit again from Gannon Dokes. He went for goal, it's cleared away. Scotland will get the throw in on this right hand side. Hendry thought about trying to take that one quickly, but then thinks better of it. Final few seconds, you would imagine, of the half is headed away by Casemiro and then picked up by Cunha. Tries to find Vinnie Jr., but close on the cover there was McKenna, kept in but given away by Patterson, and Cunha will have it back once more. He might have had a goal himself. A lovely little back heel from Vinnie Jr. Forward, oh, it's brilliant from Ryan. Chance for a third, really good save from Angus Gunn to deny Brazil a third goal on the stroke of half-time. It was genius from Brazil in the build-up, and Ryan with a killer first touch, but the second not quite good enough to get the better of Angus Gunn, and it's still Brazil leading by 2 goals to 0.
Do you know, when you think of Brazil, you think of the beautiful skills, the fantastic balance, and that was it. Almost encompassed one totally brilliant move. It was Gaza-like in its technique, absolutely fabulous. He deserved to go from that.
Corner kick from the right hand side, curled in towards the back post. It's over all the Brazilian players, comes to the edge of the penalty area, it's lashed towards goal. Scotland get a body in the way, still play goes on, but I think the referee is going to bring now play to a halt before Brazil can take that final corner, and Vinnie Jr. makes his way off the field of play down at the corner flag away to our left hand side, having been the crucial player in the first half, although you could argue that the Scotland backline have also been crucial, but not in a good way, because they have shipped a couple of goals. It could have been more. Vinnie Jr. could have had a hat-trick, but for one being chopped off. And although Scotland haven't played poorly, Pat Nevin, in this first period, they find themselves with a real uphill battle in the second half.
They absolutely do. I mean, 2 is maybe too many, so they have to do something about getting a goal back. They're getting into good positions. They've not really had many clear-cut chances, but to make those sort of mistakes at this level, just good players will just do it. And then it's getting a little bit edgy now. That's twice that Angus Gunn's tried to come out for balls that were clipped to the back post. Missed one of them let her go, the other one could have let her go as well. There are worries now in that back line, and even though Scotland could maybe try and hold well for 2, you can't afford to. I think Scotland need to go for another goal, and I suspect Stevie Clarke will be tempted to make changes, if not at half-time, very, very soon afterwards.
Well, Vinicius Jr., we knew how dangerous he was going to be, and so it has proved. He's capitalised on a couple of big Scotland errors to get 2 goals in this first period. Angus Gunn had to deny Ryan just in the stroke of half-time. Alisson at the other end has been pretty much undisturbed in the Brazilian goal, and that is why at half-time in the Miami Stadium it is Scotland 0, Brazil 2.
Sports Sound at the World Cup.
Scotland versus Brazil, live from Miami. The World Cup, live on Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland.
The World Cup lives here.
Radio Scotland Breakfast. Starting the conversation every weekday morning.
You're basing that on the doomsday, typical Scotland scenario.
Maybe that's why I'm behaving a bit like the Grinch this morning. I'm listening to all those adjectives. Unbelievable, phenomenal, fantastic, epic, amazing, incredible, magic, all that. I'm with you. Nobody wants to win more than me. I'm just injecting the counter-argument. And I hope, for once, I'm wrong.
I've just realised how much I've missed being in the studio with you, Martin. Come on.
Join Martin Geisler and Laura McKeever for Radio Scotland Breakfast.
Philip, I love you.
Listen tomorrow morning from 6 on BBC Radio Scotland and Sounds.
You're listening to Sports Sound on BBC Radio Scotland with me, Kenny McIntyre, Billy Dodds and Willie Miller alongside me in the studio, Leanne Crichton and Pat Nevin out there in the stadium in Miami. We've reached half-time, Scotland 0, Brazil 2, a double from Vinicius Junior, and the truth is it could have been more. They've cut us open a few times. We look very suspect at the back. What changes will Steve Clarke make to address that? Let's then get the thoughts of one of Scotland's greatest ever defenders, Willie Miller. Willie, what on earth did you make of that defender? Let's just go through that first goal. Just talk us through what happened.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's hesitation at the highest level from Scott, and I think it's a really dangerous pass that he's trying in the first place. I think it's to Kenny McLean, and Kenny McLean's well marked at the time. You know, Andy Robertson for me would have been the pass it's on. You know, if Scott kind of gets himself in a better position, you know, so he's got the option to play it to Kenny or to play it to Andy, but he didn't. He seemed to get himself you know, turned round with only one option, and then he just dwells on it, and really, you know, at that stage of the game, you know, after quite a positive start from Scotland as well, you know, you're taking chances, and I don't think you can take chances against you know, the quality that Brazil have. And I know that the game nowadays, it tends to be that, you know, the two full-backs get wide and the two centre-backs are on it. But you need to have time. You still need to have time, and he didn't have time. So you've got to recognise that you don't have time on the ball. And unfortunately for him, you know, it's a bit of a disaster for him when he tries to make the pass and it's intercepted. Then you know where it's going to end up. It's going to end up in the back of the net. But then Henry does the same, doesn't he? You know, he dwells on it. But fortunate that we get away with that one. I would think. Listen, it is a free kick. Thankfully VAR, you know, picks it up, but in a bad day that might not have got picked up, but anyway, we got away with that one. But you'd have thought that the centre backs would have learnt, you know, Henry would have learnt that to McKenna from McKenna's first error. And then, you know, the actual second goal itself, Andy Robertson then gives the ball away inside the penalty box. It gets you know, played out wide. The cross comes in, Angus Gunn's in no man's land, and Nathan Patterson runs underneath it. I think he tries to anticipate where the ball's going to land and get in front of Junior, but he mistimes it, makes the wrong decision, and it's quite an easy finish for him. And overall, I think Scotland have done okay, but you know, they're 2-0 down. They've done okay. It could have been a lot worse, and I think you've just got to recognise that now. Whether Steve Clarke will be contemplating, you know, changes at half-time, he could be. You know, he could be thinking about throwing on another defender like Grant Hanley and playing with a 3 rather than a 2. You know, just to make it a little bit more congested in that area. You know, and to be practical about it, because we don't want this to turn into 3 or 4. You know, from the point of view of the qualification that they all know and we've discussed on so many occasions. So it's a case, I think, of being safety first defensively. It's been a poor defensive performance in the first half. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But Scotland have been, you know, I think they've been decent throughout. They haven't created too many opportunities, but you know, they actually responded well to going that goal down. But to give another one away, you know, I think the heads and the shoulders might go down in the second half. So I think it's a big half-time team talk from the manager, and contemplating perhaps changes to try and tighten up at the back, because, as I said, the last thing you want is to go 3-4.
Well, we'll make it more on that in just a minute. Jane Lewis is behind the goal there in the stadium. We'll get to Jane in just 1 minute. Before that, let's hear from the Scotland assistant, Stephen Naismith. He's been chatting with Ailey Barber.
Stephen, 2 mistakes, really frustrating, but how do you reflect on that first half? Yeah, it's tough. Obviously, it's now the second game in a row we've lost an early goal, which is really difficult. I think they've shown their threat. They're happy to make you feel comfortable, and they'll punish you. So obviously we need to regroup at half time and be better defensively, but we need to carry a threat.
What will that message be at half time, particularly losing so late on the first half?
Yeah, it will be that. It will be that we've got to be better defensively, and they're happy to leave bodies up the pitch. But I think we've got the final third, but similar to Morocco, we've not tested the goalie. We need to do that a bit more in the second half.
Wish you all the best. Cheers, Stephen. Thank you.
The thoughts of Stephen Naismith there. Let's then get to Jane Lewis, who's behind the goal there in the stadium. What can you tell us, Jane?
Well, Ken, I can tell you a few minutes ago the sprinklers were on here during half-time. No Scotland subs out as yet warming up, which I kind of find quite surprising, although maybe Steve Clarke wants them all in for that half-time team talk, as Willie alluded to there, is probably delivering some really key words. Interestingly enough, though, just before half-time, Kieran Tierney was warming up on the sidelines, and he wasn't just going through the motions, he was really warming up the limbs, he was stretching, he was twisting and turning. I wonder whether he is about to come on early in the second half. Of course, we will see shortly, but yeah, certainly Scotland need to try and do something, and defensively they maybe need to kind of shore things up as well, because as the guys have been talking about, those costly errors have been key to Brazil getting that 2-goal lead. So yeah, no subs warming up at the minute apart from Kieran Tierney just before half-time. You'd be pretty sure that Steve Clarke would be thinking about changes. We will see when the players come back out in several minutes' time.
Thank you to Jane Lewis, a reporter there on the ground. Billy Dodds, what have you made of that first half performance?
Composed from middle to front, but an absolute disaster class in possession defensively, and decision making has been horrendous, and it's killed us, because we started well, as everybody was talking about. Then McKenna makes a mistake. We get away with one after that when Hendry makes a mistake. It reminded me a little bit of Cyril Dessers with Lager Bielka in the Old Firm game. And it actually gave us a shot in the arm, because we go on and we start playing again, and we thought we'll get off with one, we'll start playing. But then our decision making again, and how quickly. It's okay taking the ball at the back, I've no problem with building. We do it all the time at Kilmarnock, and I know it's a different scenario but on a different level, but the one thing you have to be when you're building from the back is quick on the ball, and we've been lax. Willie said it, the pass into McLean isn't on. He's already, the Brazil players probably beyond him, waiting to steal it because it's a straight pass. And then we just go from bad to worse when we get away with it, and we have that little shot in the arm, as I said. Then we make another mistake, and Robertson does well, tucks round and he gives it away. But then the decision making from Angus Gunn, you have to say it, is so poor, because he's not getting there, and if he comes he's got to get something on it. Patterson tries to cover, he sees Vinicius Junior getting inside him, so he tries to cover round. Vinicius Junior checks his run, but Gunn's got to either come and get it or stay, and the decision he makes to come and get under it is just so poor. So we've absolutely killed ourselves just with, as I say, the word disaster class in defensive possession and decision making, Kenny. So gut wrenching.
It is, Leanne, and I think it's fair to say we were all quite happy when we heard the team news earlier on that the 11 that Steve Clarke had gone with, but at half time we found ourselves 2 goals down. It could have been more, and yet another half of football without a shot on target for us.
Yeah, and that's the stats that are probably quite damning, Kenny. When you look at the possession stats, there's only a 4% swing between the two sides. Passes wise, there's probably about 30 passes. Brazil are better off, but they've had 11 shots to Scotland's 4, and we've had none on target. Brazil have carried a really strong goal threat, as they do. They almost lure you into a sense of feeling like you've got control in the game and you're comfortable. But when they decide to go, they absolutely go. And they should be 3 up, by the way. The ball over the top for Ryan and the touch out there, as Pat said in commentary, deserved a goal. It was real quality. And that's what they can do. They don't always want to pass. They don't always want to go sideways. It's not always about keeping possession and moving. The Brazilians go, and they go with tempo. And it's something that we need to learn from. I've sat the whole half so frustrated at Ben Gannon-Doak because I've been desperate for him to be in this starting lineup, and at no point has he made a run, a counter movement where he comes short to show to feet and he goes and stretches the game in behind. Nathan Patterson, the distances between him and Patterson most times has been about 20 yards of space. But just go to a back three and have two wing backs, because that's what it looks like Ben Gannon-Doak's playing as a wing back, even when he's not required to be so deep. Give yourself that extra defender centrally that maybe gives you a little bit more confidence in terms of the errors that Hendry and McKenna have made, and put players on that want to just come and work hard. Get an extra striker on the pitch and give us that extra outlet, whether it's a Lyndon Dykes, but certainly the personnel now that we've got on the pitch only works if players are willing to go and be brave, and right now we've not seen enough bravery in the ball. We've seen naivety in terms of the defenders and how they've moved the ball. We've seen mistakes in terms of Angus Gunn's decision making. I think that from that second goal is actually worse than the first for me, because the first is a pure mistake and a lack of concentration from McKenna. That second goal that punishes us, as a goalkeeper, you need to be seeing the play developing in front of you. You must be seeing that your defenders are there, and Patterson's probably trying to do enough to put Vinicius Junior off. But get your position set. It's an overhit delivery to the back post. It's the only delivery that can happen at the point the box is emptying. I'm really frustrated with how we've gone about our business, to be honest, in the half overall.
Listen, Liam, we all are. We'll have so much hope ahead of kick-off. Of course, there is still time. It's 2-0 to Brazil here, 2-2 in the other game. We will get an update for you in a position in terms of the best placed third teams. We'll get that for you. So let's hope it's a lot better from Scotland in the second half in Miami. Let's get back to our commentary team there, Pat Nevin and Alistair Lamont.
Welcome back to Miami Stadium as Scotland's substitutes are all out on the field of play, knocking the balls around. A little warm-up. There's no immediate sign that any of them are about to come on at half-time, I have to say. We'll keep you up to date on that, but a very disappointing first period for Scotland, where they have really given away two very cheap goals, almost a third, and but for a really good save by Angus Gunn at the end of the half, they might have had a third through Ryan as well. So it's the Brazilian fans round about us who have been enjoying this game much more so than their Tartan Army counterparts, who still, having said that, look like they're enjoying themselves, but they'd be enjoying themselves a whole lot more if their team could make an impact on the game. And unfortunately, Pat Nevin, that simply hasn't happened thus far.
No, it hasn't, but I'm not that much of a downer about much of the play. And I think sitting the right full-back, Nathan Patterson is a very good game. Robertson was doing fine until that one mistake that he made. I agree that Ben Gannon-Doak decision-making, he can be the out ball. He can be the, first time he gets the ball, he goes at the defender, leaves him for dead, thinking, right, okay, now asking questions all the time, get beyond him. And it just stopped. He wasn't making the right decisions, and that's just something your man will learn. So I felt a little bit sorry that we had large periods of the play, but without creating anything absolutely clean. And on top of that, I'd say Brazil made two very good chances. One right at the death there, and Ryan, great touch, and one they got to the goal line, cut back, and that was cleared off the line. Other than that, there have been three opportunities, and they've all been Scotland mistakes. Really, really bad mistakes, bordering on amateurish mistakes, and you don't do that against half-decent teams, and you certainly don't do that against great teams.
There is going to be one Scotland change. Kieran Tierney is going to come on for this second half. He's just getting some final instructions down below us from the Scotland coaching staff, and he will be introduced for this second period. Celtic man, interesting to see.
Well, I think is it Robertson? I think Robertson may have got a wee injury. Is it Robertson? Can't see Robertson out there.
No, I don't see him. You're right, Pat. Could well just be a like-for-like swap at left full-back for the Scots. No changes apparent for the Brazilian side, who lead by 2-0 coming into this second period. Just waiting for a confirmation from the fourth official that it is indeed the captain, Andy Robertson, who is being replaced, but certainly not out there on the field, so it's quite surprising. I mean, it must be an injury. Yeah.
No, it is an injury, because when he got caught and trying to play the ball out from the back, and you know it's an error, he stayed down after it. Now I thought he was staying down because he was disappointed. Clearly stayed down because there was an injury there, and it may well be that mistake from Robertson, because it's so unlike him to do that, may well be because he actually pulled some sort of muscle either as he played that ball or just before it.
It is indeed Tierney for Robertson as we are about to get back underway. It'll be Brazil to kick us off. They're going from left to right as we look at it from high up in the main stand here. Not quite as high as our position back in Boston, that's for sure. But yeah, a really good view of what has transpired out there in that opening 45. And what has transpired is that Brazil have not quite torn Scotland apart. They've certainly had the better of the game, but they have been ruthless when the opportunities have been rather gifted to them by the Scots backline. So we're back underway, and Gunn fires it forward, and Shanklin nods it down to McGinn on the left-hand side. Midway inside the Brazil half, out to Tierney, gets his first touch, has to check back the way. It's McGinn once more, and then back onto the halfway line to McKenna, who was guilty of the mistake for the Vinnie Junior opener. Out to the right-hand side to Patterson. How much do you fault? I've seen a couple of people saying, or heard a couple of people saying, that Patterson was also at fault with that second goal. Was he's
no,
basically
I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not, because what you're doing is you are marking your Vinicius Junior there. You can't get to that ball because the goalkeeper's come for it. You must allow the goalkeeper to come for it, and at that point he then no longer get past his own goalkeeper to get to Vinicius Junior. So that would be incredibly harsh.
Yeah,
incredibly harsh on the young fullback.
I would concur, but I always like to hear your opinion on the matter. Here comes Ryan, right-hand side, midway inside the Scotland half. Guimarães, who played that lovely floated ball in to Vinicius Junior for the second goal. Just measured it perfectly. Yeah, you could definitely argue that Angus Gunn didn't calculate it properly.
It's not just that one, there was a second one just after it as well.
Yeah.
The ball was played to the back post and he came out for it and missed it completely, and you don't need to look at anything more. If you come out for it and you don't get it, you got it wrong.
Patterson getting the better there of Vinicius Junior over on the far side. Midway inside his own half, throws it into McTominay, who Scotland really need to begin to hit the heights. Forces it back to Patterson in the right back area. Then he plays it into Ferguson. Little triangles, all neat and tidy there from Scotland. Then Shanklin joins in and gets it back to McTominay. He threads it through for Garen Doak, trying to get through a couple of Brazilian challenges. Well, he got through those first two, but on the cover was Danilo, who knocks it back to his goalkeeper.
But better for Ben Garen Doak. He runs beyond, and I'm sure Stevie Clark said to him, come on, I've got you here for a reason. There's no point in being a buzz-bomb lightning player and not using that pace, and he used it there for the first time in the second half, and it took 4 Brazilians to stop him.
Tierney has it, left-hand side, back into the halfway line to McKenna, square for Hendry, and now Patterson once more, a bit of space for him, plays it infield for Ferguson. Midway inside that Brazilian half, coming forward, and out on the right-hand side is Garen Doak, up against Douglas Santos here, but 25 yards from goal. Now it's McLean, knocks it back the way to Hendry. Just might have been an opening there for Scotland, but having to come back the way, and they might have to go all the way back to the goalkeeper as Angus Gunn collects that and then hammers it over the halfway line once more. McTominay hesitates, then tries to control it, fails to do so. Gabriel able to thump it over the halfway line, chested down by Ferguson on that right-hand side. 3.5 minutes into the second period. Brazil still leading by 2-0. It's not a result that's going to particularly help Scotland if they're going to be one of the third-place sides. They really have to hope that the goal difference is semi-decent, unless, of course, there is a possibility that 4 other groups finish without a team even on 3, which would allow Scotland to... There's a chance there for McTominay, who rose really well on the penalty spot. He headed towards goal, but it's straight at Allison as the ball was swung in from the left-hand side. And McTominay at last making his presence felt, but just couldn't find the angle on the header. That was an opportunity, though.
Yeah, maybe the best one in the game so far, and that's what we want Scott McTominay to do. But he needs something to work off. The ball's played down there. It's not complicated. Into McGinn, back out there to that man's Tierney. And Tierney's brilliant from those sort of positions. He doesn't need to take it to the byline. He just whips it in. Maybe we could have done it with a tiny wee bit more pace so that McTominay could have worked with it a bit more. But he's got up, he's got high, he's got a header on it. It's on target. Sadly, straight at Alisson. But what a lift that's given the Tartan Army behind that goal.
Yeah, it's an effort on target. At least McTominay has come up with so many big moments, but couldn't quite finish that one off as Brazil pick up possession just outside their own penalty area. It's Marquinhos for Gabriel. Up towards the halfway line he comes. Douglas Santos is available over on the left-hand side, but it's short to Paquetá. Now Marquinhos once more, just outside the centre circle, clips it forward, looking for the run of Vinny Jr. Cut out by Henry, just on the edge of his own box. And Ferguson there to tidy up. And into Tierney. McGinn just inside his own half, plays it short to Ferguson. Better play from Scotland. Shankland again drops off the front to link the play. And then Hendry gets it to McTominay, right of centre. Out to Patterson, right-hand side. He swings it into the penalty area. He's just asking too much of Shankland there. He'll come all the way over to this near side and picked up by Danilo, the right full-back.
Nothing wrong with the ball, though, Al. Nothing wrong with the ball at all. There, down the right-hand side, put it between the centre-backs and the goalkeeper, ask the centre-forward to go and attack it. And just keep on putting them in there, and Shankland, he'll get on at the end of one of them.
Here come Brazil, and it's Paquetá crossing the halfway line, threads it forward. Brady Jr.'s in for the hat-trick. Brady Jr. saved by Gunn. Good goalkeeping again by Angus Gunn to deny Vinicius Jr. after another wonderful ball threaded through that Scottish defence. But Angus Gunn bails Scotland out and keeps them in it at 2-0 down.
Yeah, brilliant pace, but it's the angle of the run. The angle of the run is so hard to stop. And it's the intelligence of players like Vinicius Jr. They know how to angle it, and they know they've got players just behind them that can play the right ball at the right pace. Scotland lucky to get away with that one, but maybe not lucky. You got to see Angus Gunn. That's actually good goalkeeping. Makes himself big, makes himself hard to beat.
Yeah, that's a couple of good saves either side of half-time. Firstly from Ryan and then from Vinicius Jr. As there's a big switch of play there from Tierney, and it's out for a Scotland throw-in midway inside the Brazilian half. Have played in almost 7 minutes of this second period. Scotland still trailing by 2-0. You're listening on BBC 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland. There's live coverage after this one, after the analysis of this one of Mexico against Czech Republic. And Scotland will be looking for Mexico to win that. That could be one of the groups that doesn't get to 3. Here comes Patterson inside the penalty. He goes down. The referee waves him onto his feet. Nothing doing there in terms of a penalty claim as Scotland threatened momentarily. And Brazil now break over the halfway line. On the cover there is Hendry. Gets the ball back to Gunn with Vinny Jr. breathing down his neck. Gunn's a little bit careless with his kick out. And it's Ferguson trying to keep it in play. He's failed to do so. It'll be a throw into Brazil, but Patterson still feeling he was hard done by there.
He got in a great position though. That overlap, I mean, he's very, very good at that. To be honest, defending is usually the question mark. He's defended very well today, but that overlapping, he's got in some great positions.
It's Brazil coming forward here, left-hand side, midway inside the Scotland half.
I must underline there was an underlap on this occasion, but he's doing either one very, very well. Got lots of energy out there. He's played really superbly well for me.
Here's Ryan, right-hand side, just then off that touch line. Danilo now goes back the way to Marquinhos. Every Scotland player behind the ball as it's played out to that left-hand side to Paquetá, and then further over to the left is Douglas Santos, about 20 yards from the corner flag. Brazil looking to find the opening once more to completely eliminate Scotland from this contest. You feel a third goal would do that. It would certainly be damaging for Scotland in terms of goal difference as well, and it might yet come down to that in third place as Vinicius Jr. picks up about 35 yards from goal. He's gone for goal, and it's straight at Gunn, who takes it pretty comfortably in the end, just pams it down, and Cunha unable to get there on the rebound. It's bowled out, but again Vinicius Jr. is certainly in the hunt for that hat-trick.
It's quite easy for him to get the shots on target. Okay, with some distance, you trust your goalkeeper to save it. But the ease in which they get into shooting positions in comparison with Scotland, who found it very, very, very hard to get themselves technically proficient enough to get a little bit of space, 20-25 yards out, so they can have at least one lash at it. We've had one or two in the first half, not necessarily been on target, but just one goal would make such a difference for Scotland just now. A, it would put us in that position, much better chance of qualifying, but B, it would start putting a doubt. The odd doubt in the Brazilian mind. Problem is, there has only been one real good open chance, and that was Scott McTominay's header.
Brazil top the group as things stand, as they have done in the last 11 group stages. Quite a phenomenal record. They are looking to advance further than they have done of late, beyond the quarter-finals. Certainly look like they're heading for the last 32, with Morocco drawing against Haiti. 2-2 the last we heard in that one. As Scotland pick up just inside the Brazil half. It's Patterson again coming inside. It's a good ball for Shanklin, trying to link here, and now there's another stumble. The referee has a look at it again. He's not interested in the penalty claim. Scotland win possession back, but by foul means on that occasion just outside the Brazil box. But again, it was a lovely little touch from Shanklin from the Patterson pass as McLean burst into the box, and maybe just not quite enough contact.
To be honest, before this World Cup, that probably gets given. He's nudged him a little bit in the back, not a lot, but seeing this World Cup, the way it's been refereed, they've just not been given. That's just the deal. And Scotland has suffered that with the McGinn one. McTominay won as well in the game against Morocco, and again McTominay there. But the positive is getting in there. McTominay getting into a dangerous position. Patterson flying forward there on the right-hand side, asking a couple of questions. This is what we need to see. What we don't need to see is Brazil breaking away and scoring another goal.
Here's Ryan trying to do exactly that. He's challenged well by Tierney, who manages to force the ball out of play for a Brazil throw-in about 30 yards from the corner flag right-hand side. We played 11 minutes of this second period. It's Scotland 0, Brazil 2. As Marquinhos back the way into his own half, plays it square for Gabriel. Gabriel up towards the edge of the centre circle. Now it's Paquetá. Lovely ball through the lines for Vinicius Junior up towards the edge of the Scotland penalty area. Little link up there with Guimarães. Off his line comes Gunn, who smothers it just before Vinny Junior could get back onto it. Just delightful play there between Guimarães and Vinicius Junior. Just didn't quite come off for the Brazilians on that occasion. And it remains 2-0 to the 5 times world champions. Scotland have it now on the right-hand side. It's Gannon Doak. Little step over, trying to get away from Paquetá. Paquetá sticks with him, and he's fouled by him in the view of the Mexican referee on that occasion. Free kick goes Brazil's way.
Well done having a go, but you choose your times. The times there's a little bit of space. If there's 2 players right in front of you, you're a long way back, it might be a little bit harder. But well done, Ben Gannon Doak. He's having a go. The manager said to him, give us everything you've got for as long as you can at the start of the second half, and ask as many questions. Now, still not quite happening for him yet, but at least he's trying. At least he's making that effort to do the right thing, go beyond players.
All the stars of yesteryear are here, both Brazilian and otherwise. Kaká, Hristo Stoichkov, Pepe, Arsene Wenger, all among the spectators here this evening for this wonderful occasion that is being enjoyed slightly more, I would say, by the Brazilians, who lead by 2-0, although you can bet that the large majority of the Tartan Army are still having a good time regardless. But it's Brazil looking to build and try and find a third goal. It's a wonderful run made by Danilo. He just won't quite latch onto it. The pass was just overhit there in the middle of the park. It's a brilliant run and attempted pick out there. Just doesn't quite come off for Bruno Guimarães on that occasion.
And I can tell you right now, John McGinn is breathing the biggest sigh of relief that he's had in quite a long time. Completely lost his player there, ran behind him. John might just say to you, oh yeah, I knew that was going out. Not so sure.
McGinn just failing to latch onto a ball there. Haven't really seen him get involved as much as Scotland would like. Here's Ryan at the edge of the penalty area. Breaks back to Cunha, he goes for goal, blocked by McKenna. It'll come here to Paquetá on the edge of the penalty area. Onto the right foot, goes for the top corner. He's off target in the end as Brazil look for that killer third goal. It's not happening just yet, but they're by threatening for sure as the game wears on towards the hour mark. But it does remain Scotland 0, Brazil 2.
There must be a temptation, you know, lots of options for Scotland. I mean, the forwards that we've tired just now, certainly Shanklin's worked a lot, not got a lot of the ball, but he's worked a lot. You wonder about young Curtis. That might be an option, that might be a question, because I think he did well when he came on. in the game against Morocco.
Movie stars here in attendance as well. Gerard Butler, Scotland's fan, is keeping an eye on proceedings, but it's not going his way, it's not going Scotland's way right now. Brazil in possession and leading by 2-0 here in the Miami Stadium. It's a raucous atmosphere, one of the best atmospheres I think I've ever encountered at a football game.
It just never stops, that's the point. You know, go to many football games, and the vast majority, they're ups and downs. The noise has generally kept on going, and as you said, that Scotland fans are singing again.
Here's Guimaraes through at the edge of the penalty area. Opportunity here, he lays it to his right. Cunha scores! Brazil have a third. And Matheus Cunha has scored two against Haiti. Gets the surfing routine underway as he celebrates with his teammates in front of the Brazil fans. And Brazil are running away with this one. Scotland complained to the referee about something down there. Not entirely sure what the substance of those complaints are, but the harsh reality is that they are falling apart here in Miami as Brazil extend their advantage. It is Scotland 0, Brazil 3.
Falling apart or being torn apart. Certainly when they got into the last third, they're completely and utterly different from the way Scotland are just now. They're claiming there's a free kick there, and the ball was played through, and I'm absolutely not convinced by it. You know, the referee might have looked at it, the VAR looked at it. To me, Bruno Guimaraes was just too strong, just a little bit too strong, and also he wasn't greedy. He had a chance to go for a goal, but he knew that if he held the ball up, dragged some players, he could play Cunha, and Cunha was never going to miss from there. Just a little bit of quality. Final third, they've been way ahead of Scotland in that situation.
Yeah, miles, and I don't think that's ever going to be chalked off for an infringement. No free kick on that occasion. And Cunha, who'd only scored once for his country until last week, now has 3 in a couple of games to make it 4 overall in his 26th cap. And the Man United forward has put this game well beyond Scotland, and now, well, you could argue it's about damage limitation, and there's a huge roar going round the stadium. I haven't heard about another Haiti goal, so I'm not entirely sure. Or maybe it's for Neymar if he's come out to warm up. Perhaps that's what it is. Here's Tierney into the box on the left-hand side. He was taken out. That is just outside the penalty area. There's a yellow card being shown here to Danilo, the right full-back, for the foul. And Tierney's down in a bit of a crumpled heap. Scotland have got a free kick then just to the left of the penalty area. It's a good position.
Again, Tierney's done really well since he came in. And to be honest, he's got his last at him there. He's not got in within about 5 yards of the ball. You know, if you get close to it, but he's so late. That's one of those ones that's, and he knows what he's doing because he makes sure the tackle is just that few inches outside the box, and
it's very close, isn't it, to the edge of the box.
And I think it's one of those ones where I think you need to look at, is it a red card for quite violent play?
Yeah.
Or when the actual action happened, when the connection happened, was it on the white line? The referee doesn't seem even vaguely interested in looking at it. Asking for the
VAR will be checking it for sure. And he's been waved on, so they've decided it was outside. So Ferguson with a free kick, but 10 yards from the goal line, left-hand side, fires it goalwards, and it's Alisson with a good save to tip it away. That was heading straight into the top corner from Ferguson, but for the Brazilian keeper's intervention, and it will be a Scotland corner. They continue to trail by 3-0.
Tierney done really well. Just come in a couple of really good balls down the left-hand side. He's tackled well. And that, once again, flying up that line, getting the crosses in, asking difficult questions.
Corner kick from the right-hand side then. Looks like Kenny McLean over on that far side to take this one. Left-footed, clipped in towards the back post. It's headed away by a Brazilian head. Comes out to Tierney on that left flank. Will fire it back in to the edge of the 6-yard box. Downward header, brilliant save by Alisson. It was Hendry who seemed to get up there with the header and met it flush in the forehead, but Alisson goes down to his right. Might have been McTominay actually at the back post, got in just ahead of Hendry to direct it goalwards, but again Alisson equal to it, and now Tierney's giving it away in a dangerous area, and Brazil come forward. Vinicius Junior's through on goal, but he's offside. and it will remain Scotland 0, Brazil 3, but Scotland on a couple of occasions coming close.
Yep, getting, two really decent headers in good positions, and then the crosses from the left-hand side now coming in. We've known this for years. We've known the capabilities of Kieran Tierney. Arsenal fans know, Celtic fans know, and Scotland fans know. These are really good times since they come on at the start of the second half for Randy Robertson.
Scotland though trailing by 3-0 as McTominay picks up right-hand side, feeds it for Gannon Doak. Can he get there before the ball goes out? No is the answer. Just shepherded out of play there, and referee is just telling the Brazilians to get on with it here a little bit, because it's a goal kick. In fact, one of the players has been told to
but then another substitution, 17 for
a couple of changes coming. So it's Casemiro being ushered off there, and a couple of changes actually by Brazil as Fabinho comes on for Casemiro, and it will also be Gabriel Martinelli replacing Lucas Paquetá. So double change for the Brazilians, leading by 3-0 with 25 minutes to play. And what you have to say about those changes, Pat, is that it doesn't weaken them at all by the looks of it.
No, I don't think so. And also some legs as well. Martinelli's got great pace. He can stretch your defences. So that's what Scotland looking a little bit hard in some areas at the back, but they haven't got a choice now. Scotland, they kind of have to go for it a bit. They do need a goal. They absolutely desperately need a goal now. The thought of the minus column and that goal difference now is beginning to get very, very worrying. They could really do them to get one back, but they've had a couple of chances.
Yeah, so Scotland's goal difference currently is -3, and when it gets to that sort of level, then you really are beginning to hope that 4 of the other groups don't even get to 3 points for the third place team. The Group A, which plays after these games, Mexico against the Czech Republic and South Korea against South Africa, that could be one of those groups if both Mexico and Korea can avoid defeat in those. That would mean that their third place team couldn't get to 3, but then it's a long, anxious wait for 3 other groups to fall into place as well. And Scotland, as Pat says, could really do themselves a favour if they could get a goal back and at least give themselves a hope of doing it if it comes down to goal difference.
I don't think it's beyond them. I really don't, with the chances that we've created just now. And also the fact that when you have this next hydration break, Stevie Clark almost certainly will make a couple of changes in to freshen it up. It's not beyond the bounds of possibility, but neither is a 4th goal for Brazil, and I think we know that, and that is the fear and the panic. But maybe this is the time you need to go for it. You really need to try and make this World Cup a little bit your own by pushing harder, taking it on the front foot, accepting that you're going to have to take a chance, because it's worth a chance.
Brazil have it at the back. The Tartan Army stunned into close to silence just for the moment, but the Brazilians very much with a carnival atmosphere that they are famed for inside the stadium and out. And here they come once more, building and looking for a more emphatic victory. They want to top the group regardless of what the Morocco scoreline is, and that will be cue for the hydration break, which Brazil head into with Matheus Cunha having extended their advantage in the second half to 3-0, and former Scotland international Leanne Crichton alongside us on the gantry here. Leanne, what does Scotland do now as a kind of a sticker twist scenario for you?
It is, Al, because it's a difficult one. What we've seen tonight is how good Brazil can be, middle to final third. They've been so impressive, and they do lure you into a false sense of security. That's where you could make really positive changes just now and have every intention to go for it. One mistake, one horizontal pass, one cut out, and all of a sudden it's 4-0, and that's the reality. And what will begin through Steve's head just now is that 3 might be enough to squeak you into the knockout stages, but regardless he's going to need to make changes because boys are going to tire. It's been tough out there. Some of them have given their absolute all. We've had a couple of really good chances, and that's probably at best all you get against sides like Brazil. That's the reality. You don't get 3s and 4s and 5s to go and cut them open or go and have a real shot on target. So it's going to come down to a set piece. It's going to be that transitional moment. I've liked the intentions for Tierney off the left-hand side in terms of his delivery. We need more of that and to allow numbers inside the box. But yeah, I'm looking at Lawrence Shankland a minute or so ago. He's so deflated with the type of service and input that he's able to have in the game. It's just been such a frustratingly long night for him, and there's still a fair bit to go, so I would expect changes. It is a little bit stick and twist. We cannot afford to concede any more goals. I know that's a fact. Anything more than 3 just now and you're absolutely walking a tightrope and you're probably not progressing. If we could sneak one back, as Pat keeps rooting for, I would take it.
Yeah, Neil McCann also alongside us on the commentary gantry here for BBC 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland. Neil, what changes would you be thinking of at this particular juncture?
Well, I think what Leanne's touched on there, I think Lawrence has shown some nice touches, but I think it is, I've been saying it since the start of the game, and I'm saying it again, I think it's time for Lyndon Dykes. We have to freshen it up a little bit. We've been too safe through the middle of the pitch, Al, for me, tonight. I don't think Scott's had 2 of our best chances getting into the box, arrive on the box, which he's always going to do, but in terms of his all-round game, I don't think he's been at his top level, but that could be said for most of the midfield. I think we're taking the negative pass too many times when it's a flat 4 of Brazil and trying to get through those lines. Lawrence has come short so many times without anything, and I think he's probably run his race. I think Ben Gannon Doak has done not an awful lot of late. I would take him off, move McGinn back to the right-hand side, get Finlay Curtis over here, so it's another attacker with a goal threat, and you can maybe light John McGinn up off that right side, which I think he's much better at.
Thanks again, Neil and Leanne, as the water break comes to a close. It's Pat Nevin alongside me, Alistair Lamont, on commentary duty here as Scotland trail by 3-0 against the might of Brazil, and they really have shown their might at times this evening. Just got a shot of Andy Robertson on the Scotland bench there with a nice strapping on his ankle as Angus Gunn again dices with danger as he's closed down by Vinnie Jr. On this occasion he gets the ball forward to McKenna. Here's McKenna on the halfway line. Scotland looking to at least get themselves on the score sheet in this game and improve their chances of getting through. Looking at some of the data sites, you see they still are showing that Scotland with a -3 or teams with a -3 goal difference had a better than 50-50 chance of going through, but there's a lot of games to be played. Remember, this group just the second to complete the 3 goals. Again, a huge cheer comes up from the Brazil fans as Scotland get it into the box. Shankland tries to get it goalwards, and it's just over the top. In the end, it's McTominay again who's in there getting the last effort. Shankland rather dragged the shot. McTominay tried to guide it goalwards, but it's over the top, and it does remain Scotland 0, Brazil 3.
Again, it's that left-hand side. Scotland look very, very decent get down the left-hand side. It's Tierney. He's getting past people, and he doesn't get past it, just plays it beyond them. Well done. Shankland gets on the near post there, eventually gets it back to McTominay, who he scuffs the shot, but Scott always seems to get there. That's why I still have hope we can maybe scrape a goal out of this, would make a big difference. It's all going to be rather secondary to the noise you're going to hear in a minute, isn't it, though?
Yeah, that huge cheer just a moment ago was because Neymar emerged from the dugout stripped and ready to come on, and he's going to feature for the first time at this particular World Cup. The Brazilian legend at the age of 34 looked like a calf injury might keep him out. It was touch and go as to whether Carlo Ancelotti would name him in the World Cup squad at all. He hasn't played for his country for a lengthy period, principally because of an ACL injury, but he's got himself back fit.
I'll tell you something else about him, Al. Every player in a yellow shirt here will be desperate to give him a goal. They'll all be working hard to give him a chance.
Vinicius Jr. looking to try and get on the end of a pass there just inside the Scotland area, but dispossessed, and McTominay emerges with possession, and it's McGinn now just inside his own penalty, just inside his own half, I beg your pardon, playing it square for Kenny McLean. McLean looks up, Brazil reorganising as he gets it back to McGinn, and then out to the left-hand side for Tierney, 15 yards inside Brazilian territory. Short ball to McLean, can he open it up? It's into Ferguson now on the edge of the centre circle. He looks ahead. He's got a run being made by Patterson outside of him. Doesn't use him for the moment. Comes back in field to McLean just outside the centre circle. Now it's forward to McGinn, about 35 yards from goal, out to the left hand side to Tierney. Can he get the ball back into the penalty area? Up against Ryan there, and he's knocked the ball behind for a Scotland corner. Good defending from the teenage winger.
Yeah, good defending, but every time he gets the ball, it's fantastic. He's gone down the line, he's playing like a winger, he's defended well. And once again, wins Scotland another corner. And Tierney's only been on just over a quarter of the game, and he's one of Scotland's best players in the night.
Ferguson from the left hand side with the right foot raises the left arm in signal, swings it into the edge of the 6-yard box. Out comes Allison. Two-fisted punch, gets good distance on that, and Scotland will go and have to try and retrieve that through Patterson. Tierney now swings it back in towards the back post area, headed clear but only as far here on the right hand side as McGinn, who sends it back post. McLean back into the 6-yard box, and over the top it goes from the substitute Fabinho, back doing the defending there, and it's another corner kick to Scotland. 15 minutes to play, still trailing by 3-0, but threatening here to get one back.
To be honest, it might be slightly in the mixer, but we don't mind. You're putting it in any dangerous places. These are good quality crosses that have been put in here. It's not just been lumped. So Scotland have every right to do this. They're getting a little bit closer each time.
Ferguson again from the left-hand side with the right boot in towards the near post. Again, it's headed towards goal, and again, it's just over the top. On that occasion, Lawrence Shanklin met it. And now we are going to see the introduction of the legend that is Neymar, and 3/4 of this stadium, and probably even some of the Scotland fans, rise to acclaim him as he makes his entrance, or first appearance at this particular World Cup. And he's going to come on and try and become the only other Brazilian other than Pelé to score at 4 World Cups, and also to become the oldest, as there's been another goal in the game between Morocco and Haiti. We'll get news of that just shortly as Brazil bring it out from the back. And Neymar gets his first touch in possession, starting out on this right-hand side.
That's pretty unusual. He usually plays on the left-hand side. I don't think it really matters where he plays. Up front, as a 10, wearing that number 10 around the left-hand side. He was definitely a fabulous player.
Licensed to roam, isn't it? Having replaced Matheus Cunha, who got Brazil's 3rd goal. Just under quarter of an hour of the original 90 remaining. Scotland 0, Brazil 3, as Fabinho gets out to the left-hand side to Douglas Santos. Back with Fabinho now in the middle of the park. Al Ittihad player on as a substitute. As Brazil try and work the opportunity just at the edge of the Scotland penalty area, get it clear, and then begins taken out now. Was that Danilo who made the foul there? Because he's on a yellow card. And the referee has been pretty kind to him. Let me just get to our reporter Andrew Petrie, who can bring us an update from Haiti, Morocco.
Certainly can. Morocco are in front for the first time in this game. The substitute they've just brought on, Soufiane Rahimi, scoring a knockdown from a corner, firing it into the back of the net. Haiti looking for their very first World Cup points. It looks like it's going to be cruelly snatched from them. Morocco in front for the first time, 3-2.
Thanks, Andrew. But get back to that challenge there on McGinn by the fullback Danilo.
That's a yellow card all day long. That's a yellow card all day long. And I know they sometimes say the second yellow should a little bit stronger. It's a yellow card. McGinn's gone. He's away up the line and just wiped him out. He's taken him out. He knows what he's done. It's completely cynical. It should have been a second yellow card, and Scotland should have been against 10 men.
They should indeed, but they're not. And it's Vinicius Junior picking up inside the penalty area and going for a goal at the near post, and touched just round the post by Angus Gunn. It's another good stop. Had to be alert there as Vinny Junior almost gave him the eyes at the near post. Gunn would have been, I guess, expecting him to try and curl it towards the back post, but he went for the near one, and Gunn got down to tip it wide. It's a Brazil corner.
You're so perfectly right. Even from this distance, you've spotted it. He's giving him the eyes, okay, and he nearly went for it, but good save in the end.
Neymar over on that far side to take this corner, left-hand side, curls it into the near post. Scotland get the head to it, but it comes to the edge of the area and then poked further clear, and I think Tierney was caught there. McGinn was caught as he went to clear it, so Scotland will have the free kick as Scotland, I think, are going to make a double change here. It looks like Ryan Christie for sure is going to come on, and also Anthony Ralston. I wonder if that's going to be at right back, and if that's the case, you've got to imagine that Aaron Hickey just is not fit enough to play any part in these games. Otherwise, he would surely be in front of Anthony Ralston.
Possibly so, but he did have a difficult game in the first game. So, and Ralston, of course, he rarely let Scotland down, and even in difficult games, we remember back to the Germany game, it was a tough one for him. But he came back and gave absolutely everything after that.
Brazil top the group as things stand on goal difference. The head-to-head with Morocco is even, so it is down to goal difference, and their goal difference is as a result of this evening, and indeed the 3-0 victory over Haiti, is significantly better than Morocco. So looks like they are going to once again, for the 12th consecutive tournament, go through as group winners. We've got just over 10 to play here. It's Scotland 0, Brazil 3. Our live coverage on BBC 5 Live and BBC Radio Scotland of the World Cup continuing, and it will continue on 5 Live after this one, with Mexico against Czech Republic after the analysis of this game, and BBC Radio Scotland will join them as well as Brazil come forward into the area. It's towards the back post, and it's just wide on Vinicius Junior. Another opportunity to clinch the hat-trick, and he's just thwarted there after a terrific ball from Danilo right across the face of goal, but he just couldn't turn it into the back of the net, and it remains 3-0 Brazil.
Yeah, and you do wonder how much of it is the Brazilians have got. They have got gears. You've got a couple more gears, and they just switch them on now and again, and that's a real concern, for Scotland. That they've been beaten 3-0 just now, but it could easily have been a lot more than that, because they have just switched it on when they wanted to switch it on, and they've been very good in this second half. I listened to Tim Vickery before the game, and he was saying, wow, they're not at their best, but they build into competitions well. They look to me as if they're built into it very well.
Yes, indeed, as Brazil also going to make a couple of changes. So it's Ralston and Christie for Gannon Doak and Patterson, and Douglas Santos and Ryan are making way for Endrick and Alexandro for Brazil. And Endrick is another of these wonder kids that Brazil just seem to have a conveyor belt of. Real Madrid player. He has been on loan to Lyon. Didn't get much of a look in actually under Xavi Alonso at Real Madrid, but the Brazil fans I know are extremely excited about what this teenager can offer them. But it's Scotland coming forward through Kenny McLean. He's cynically taken out there by Fabinho. That's got to be a yellow card indeed.
That's very Fabinho. Very Fabinho. I mean, they'll be clever with those free kicks when Scotland have gotten in difficult, really dangerous positions a couple of times. It's just nasty little cynical ones, know what they're doing. We all know that South American, particularly Brazilian football, has got a smiley, happy side. It's got another side as well, and they're using it now and again.
So Fabinho goes into the referee's book. Danilo should have been in there for a second time just a few minutes ago, but the referee from Mexico is showing his lenient side on that occasion. But Scotland have a free kick now. About 30 yards from goal. It's taken short into McGinn inside the penalty, just lays it back for Christie. Christie trying to spin, can't get the shot cleanly away, and Brazil managed to clear the lines up towards halfway. Ralston gets out to the left-hand side to Tierney. Tierney tries the big diagonal out to him again on the right-hand side. It's another wonderful ball from Tierney, who has been very good since coming on, as Pat's been saying. Now it's McGinn, right-hand side, gets it into the near post. McTominay, can he get turned? Can he get the shot away? He's at the byline now, trying to squeeze it back the way. He does get it back to McGinn, takes a touch. Should have just whipped it in. I think now he's still got it back to Christie. Christie sends it back post. Shankland will just try and nod it down here for Tierney. Does he go down under a challenge? He does go down. The referee says the ball was taken there by Endrick, and play allowed to continue as Tierney eventually gets himself to his feet. Just taken off his toes there. Another half chance comes Scotland's way, but just as quickly disappears, and it remains 3-0 Brazil.
There've been quite a few of them, and it's generally all down the crosses. It's not been huge, sophisticated play through the middle and intricate balls through the middle. One or two little 1-2s that have got us in the inside forward sort of areas, but generally when we go down the line or cut back on it and get crosses in, we've looked as dangerous as at any point in the game, and it's happened quite a few times in this second half.
6 minutes plus injury time to play here in the Miami Stadium, which has been a wonderful host venue for Scotland against Brazil. The yellow jerseys of the Brazilian fans dominating the stadium. The Scots here in their vast numbers as well, as Vinicius Junior gets out on the left-hand side, just a few yards in from the touchline. Brazil with the ball, but midway inside Scotland territory. They come back the way to Danilo, and now it's the Brazilian fans who sound the Olays. Scotland were doing it in the opening minutes. I think they've just goaded Brazil into action over the course of the 85 minutes as Vinicius Junior wins the corner for his side out in that far left-hand side of Brazil attack. And the colourful Brazilian fans look forward to greeting yet another Brazil victory. As we just see a rerun of the Ryan interception. He got there just in time, didn't he, Pat?
He did, and you know, at this point in time, 3-0 down, you know Scotland's history, sometimes going out by a goal. Let's hope we can hang on for the last few minutes.
In comes a near post corner, and it's headed straight behind again. Good defending from Lawrence Shankland, who has lasted 85 minutes. He doesn't often get as much of the game as that, certainly in a Scotland jersey. As David Beckham looks on here, enjoying the fare. Neymar sends it into the back post. The volley was made but blocked at the near post. And
that's got me trying to see who that is. Absolutely furious down there. Hendry feels as if he was getting dragged off the ball. It's happened a couple of times.
Gabriel with a volley there that was blocked at the back post. Usually with the head that he's particularly dangerous in the penalty area, but almost a volley into the back of the net on that occasion. Brazil have it right hand side. They're going back the way to Marquinhos, who has been his usual cool self at the back, just completely unflustered despite his advancing years. Brazil is toying with Scotland here on that left flank. It's Neymar and Vinicius Junior doubling up. What a double act that is. Brazil with possession, just a few yards inside the Scotland half. Scotland can't get near it. It's Danilo inside the centre circle. Time running out for Scotland. It's going to be another fixture with Brazil in which they've failed to get the better of their opponents. That'll be 11 times now they've met. Only twice have they failed to avoid defeat. And the last time in the World Cup was back in 1974 with a 0-0 draw when Scotland went out of the competition despite being unbeaten in the group stage. That has tended to be the Scots' lot in this competition, and who knows, they might yet fall to another agonising exit as Finlay Curtis prepares to come on for the last few minutes here, the final Scotland change of the evening. Steve Clarke down there.
He'll be quite frustrated. I think Curtis deserved a wee bit longer than that. I think he's done very, very well when he's had these little opportunities, and it's a bit of a shame for him.
Actually, Shea Adams is going to come on by the looks of it as well. The double change, of course, with Tierney being the solitary change at half-time. So they have got two left. Here's Vinny Junior into the edge of the penalty area, just couldn't find a way through on that occasion. Scotland trying to find a way out. McLean picks up just outside his penalty area, then it's a collision there, but play will continue and McGinn in possession, looking for a run up front, doesn't get it, but he goes back the way and Scotland still have it, and it's Christie just inside the Scotland half, now crossing the halfway line, looks to come out to his left hand side to Shankland, who's probably going to be replaced here by Shea Adams for the final few minutes. Ferguson now midway inside the Brazil half, out to his left hand side to Christie. Can Scotland get themselves a goal, which might yet prove crucial if it comes down to goal difference for the third place sides? It's Kenny McLean advancing up towards the edge of the penalty area. It's McGinn to the left of it, just outside the Brazil box. Can't get the ball in on that left foot. He swings it in. It's a decent looking ball to the back post. It's met there on the left foot of Anthony Ralston. He was always going to struggle to get any real purchase on it, and it's a comfortable save by Allison. Morocco have gone 4-2 up on Haiti. Looks like that'll probably be too late for them to usurp Brazil at the top of the group, but they and Brazil will both finish on 7 and will comfortably qualify for the latter stages. As Brazil build down the left hand side, there's a pull back there, and that will very likely be a yellow card for Ryan Christie. Indeed it is. minute of normal time left, Pat Nevin, and Brazil still bossing things here.
Yeah, no argument with that. Scotland have been trying to make a substitution for about 4 or 5 minutes now, but they can't make it now because it's a free kick, but it's in such a dangerous area. You never do that. You can't take a chance of changing defence in that sort of situation. So very, very frustrating. Young Curtis and for Shea Adams.
Yeah, Brazil with a free kick then, midway inside the Scotland half, about 35 yards from the goal line. It's teased in near post, well defended by Shanklin again, but it comes back out to Neymar. Left-hand side of the box, just inside it now. Onto the right foot, goes for goal, straight into the midriff of Angus Gunn, who takes it cleanly. And Neymar desperate for that goal to put him in the history books alongside Pelé, with a goal at a 4th World Cup. Again, Scotland still waiting for the moment that they can introduce the 2 changes. I don't think they're going to get it here, as it's going to be kept in play by Danilo on this near side, midway inside the Brazil half.
It's a horrible position if you're a substitute and you're desperate to go on. And, you know, left it so late to do it. There was one opportunity, couldn't take it there. But the way Brazil play, the way this game's going, the ball's hardly at the pitch. You know, and there's 6 minutes to go out of extra time that's going to be played now. I get the feeling the Brazilians could almost keep the ball for these 6 minutes if they fancied it.
Yeah, we're into 6 minutes of added on time as we speak here in the Miami Stadium at the World Cup. Scotland's final group game. Could it be their final game all told, as Shanklin battles away to win a free kick? Will they make the changes now? I think they will, yeah. And probably Shanklin will make way indeed. It is his number 20 that's held up by the 4th official to allow Shea Adams to come on. And Finlay Curtis, young Rangers winger, gets his 2nd appearance at the World Cup. McGinn also coming off for him.
It's kind of odd, you know. John McGinn's had very little time in his favourite position on the right, and he actually looked much better. He immediately came on, he was a little bit further forward. He looked much more comfortable, and then he's been dragged off. Well, he won't be gutted, but he knows he can do better coming in from the right.
Ferguson with the free kick here, about 35 from goal, very central area. He's going to try and dink this in to the left-hand side of the box, and it's intercepted there by Danilo before Tierney could get onto it. It's going to be a Scotland throw in just a few yards from the corner flag on their left-hand side. Scotland trailing by 3-0, and it comes to the box as Fabinho who gets his header clear as far as Neymar. He feeds it out to the left-hand side. Brazil getting forward here in numbers. Scotland cannot afford to lose a 4th goal. It's good defending that by Anthony Ralston. He had to make the block, and he did, and that allows Scotland to get more numbers back. He's now conceded the free kick, but at least they've got bodies back, because that could have been quite easily the 4th goal for Brazil on the counter, Pat.
Yeah, he should have done better than that, to be honest. He's got 2 players going through the middle there. It's not a difficult ball to find a yellow shirt. Didn't manage to do that there, much to Scotland's relief. And again, I do feel like this goal, this 4th goal, if Brazil do get it, could be the difference, and they're looking really dangerous.
Zendrick pick it up, but he's not managed to keep that in. Thankfully for Scotland, out for a goal kick to the Scots. We've got 4 minutes left of injury time here in Miami. Brazil going through as group leaders, and Scotland bring the ball out from the back once more. It's Lewis Ferguson, who's again performed admirably in adversity. Now Curtis on the left-hand side, a first touch for him. Tries to come forward up against Danilo, who makes a solid challenge on the youngster and denies him an opportunity to really threaten here. Now it's picked up by Neymar.
You see Curtis there. First time he gets the ball, he goes by one foot, loses it to the second one, but at least he drew the defender and asked the question there. It's good to see. I really like what he's brought to Scotland. He's not had that many games, but I think he's a big part of Scotland's future.
Indeed, it won't be his last appearance in a Scotland jersey, that's for sure, as he wins his 5th cap tonight. He's back on the halfway line with Brazil. Danilo for Marquinhos, and now just played short into Fabinho. Bruno Guimaraes takes over, tries to thread it through for Neymar at the edge of the box, but just Scotland player got a touch on it, took it through to Angus Gunn. He's back with Gunn on his penalty spot, lifts it forward up towards Adams, but Danilo's there ahead of him. Then Fabinho nods it back to Marquinhos, out to Alexandro, the left back now, having replaced Douglas Santos, as we see Matheus Cunha's 3rd Brazil goal being replayed on the big screens here. Brazil just playing the ball around. Well, they're not too bothered about scoring a fourth. They're not going to force the issue. They know that they are through as group winners, or they've been dispossessed there by Ferguson, who then was fouled. And it's going to be a free kick to Scotland midway inside the Brazil half. Martinelli caught in possession there.
Again, is that not a yellow card? I mean, it doesn't matter. Really,
doesn't matter now for that one, does it?
No, it doesn't. But he's a drag back. He's pulled his body in a way. But it doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
The only one that might have mattered was the Danilo second yellow, and that probably should have been awarded.
Exactly. When it would have made a big difference, because there's enough time for Scotland to make good use of it. We'll get very, very little time left now, Scotland. However, there's enough time to score a goal, and they've got a lot of players up there, and they've got a good man on that ball to put the ball in.
35 yards from goal. Lewis Ferguson clips it into the area. Can a Scotland head get on it? It's over the top. It's going to be a Scotland corner. We've got just a minute left. The Scotland fans were singing, "We walk a million miles for one of your goals." They definitely do that this evening, because it might yet be pivotal to Scotland's hopes of reaching the knockout stage for the very first time. As it is, it's going to be an anxious wait to see how the other groups finish over the next few days, as Ferguson stands over the left-hand side of the corner kick. Out comes Alisson, doesn't get a whole lot on it. Scotland can't really capitalise. It's Ralston though trying to get it back across the face of goal. He's done really well, but Alisson denies McTominay yet again from the edge of the box. Well, Ralston did really well to force that back across goal from the left-hand side, but McTominay denied from 6 yards. Alisson has been in the way of everything, and now come Brazil once more looking for that fourth. And it's that man Vinny Jr. up towards the edge of the penalty area, 25 yards out. Scotland trying to get bodies around him. Now it's Neymar inside the area, back to Vinny Jr. blocked well inside the box, and Scotland desperately trying to avoid the concession of a fourth goal.
Well, it just got annoyed, didn't it? Because Scotland nearly scored a goal, and that is another good chance that Scotland have created in this game. But
here they come once more. Vinny Jr. inside the box. Can he find the hat-trick goal? Crowded out, and then Scotland get themselves a free kick inside the box. Ryan Christie barged to the ground, and we're beyond the 6-minute mark in injury time. It looks like that will be pretty much that in terms of the scoring, unless the referee is of a mind to add on any more time. Scotland have the free kick at the edge of their own penalty area. In fact, there goes the final whistle, and Scotland fall to a 3-goal defeat to Brazil, who at times were just irresistible, and in particular Vinicius Jr. was just unstoppable on the left-hand side, albeit he didn't have to work too hard for his opening goal, or indeed his second one. Scotland shooting themselves in the foot in the first period, and even the third goal, Brazil scoring with Mateus Cunha just too easily breaking through that Scotland back line. Scotland did have opportunities in the second half. McTominay in particular saw 2 or 3 well saved by Alisson, but the Liverpool and Brazil keeper was in no mood to be beaten, and so Scotland finish on 3 points with a goal difference of -3, and Pat Nevin, all concerned with Scotland, are now going to be waiting nervously to see what the other groups hold, to see if that is going to be enough to take them through as one of the 8 best third place sides.
Yep, and it may well be quite a long wait for Scotland fans to find out. I don't think there are any great complaints about for Scotland tonight. I was intrigued to see what the Tartan Army fans did at the end of the game, and they've stayed in really large numbers and they've applauded the team, and I think I know why. There was absolutely no lack of effort from those Scotland players. They really put it in, and even you're 2-3-0 down, and the way you lost the goals, which you explained there, they didn't give up. They kept on getting into areas which were pretty dangerous, particularly on the left-hand side in the second half. And with a fair wind, a little bit of luck, Scotland should have got that goal. They came mighty close a couple of times. Were they in the league of the Brazilians, who had a couple of gears to use? Nah, not really. They've got a lot more to do. But we don't think we are that. But 3-0, and we're going to be sitting here thinking it's probably not going to be enough. But it's going to go right down to the wire, and we won't know for days.
A nice hug in the middle of the park between Andy Robertson and soon-to-be former Liverpool teammate Alisson as they wave to the crowd. The Scotland and Brazil players milling around the centre circle, exchanging handshakes and pleasantries, but it's the Brazilians who will walk off in the knowledge that once again they have won the group for a 12th consecutive World Cup, and they will advance to the knockout stage. For Scotland, it is an agonising wait to see if they are going to progress or if once again they will be sent home at the conclusion of the group stage. They may have to wait up to 2 or 3 days to find that out. But this evening in Miami, in front of a packed 64,000 crowd here, most of them Brazilians, but huge chunk of Scotland fans as well, they have witnessed a 3-0 Brazilian victory here. It finishes Scotland 0, Brazil 3.